Welcome back once again, all you Warhammers and Warhammies, to the best episode of Big M's Power Hour to date. You didn't luck out this time. Sorry. I forgot it, so you didn't luck out.
Completely
Maybe
forgot.
next month. Well,
Jeez.
this is going to be an episode of endurance.
Yeah, that's being fair. Yeah.
We're going to need you to stay with us.
Get your painting supplies ready and
Yep.
just hunker down. It's going to be a good one.
Get your choice catheter or empty bottle and strap in.
Jeez.
So I don't know about you, Cole, but to me it feels like it has been several months since our last recording.
It does. This last month has felt like it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, so not to give too many spoilers for the title episode, or the title of the episode here, but do you know what the Rest of Strength Hammer's been doing this past month?
Not a whole lot. Nothing that we should. Nah, nothing. I think that's what they've been up to.
Warhammer Fantasy.
Something wrong with those people, Chuck included.
Chuck actually let me use his dwarf army, and both he and I are signed up for a I think it's 1,000 or no, it's a full point. It's just a 1 day event.
It's 2,400.
Yeah, 2,400
Yeah.
1 day event Warhammer Fantasy tournament at Fabricator Forge in later in August.
Yeah, it's the same weekend I'll be at NashCon playing AOS like you should be. Anyway.
But yeah, man, it's I am shocked at how much fun it is.
Yeah.
Like we talked off camera here. Next month we're probably going to play, unless something big happens. We're probably going to play Middle Earth on camera. Kind of go over how it works, see what Cole thinks of it. But like, there's still an old school feel to that game, whereas like for fantasy, it's not. There is some old school stuff, obviously, but it doesn't feel like an old game.
Really? Okay. It's been forever since I've played that old rank and flank game.
Oh, I mean, like one of the things I think the thing that fascinated me the most was how they dealt with Rend.
Oh.
Do you remember?
I can't remember.
No. So basically, first off, of course, everything is boiled down to universal special rules, and so the universal special rule for Rend is armor piercing. So if something has armor piercing, your opponent is -1 to their save. However, the
strength
Rend is also baked into strength. So if you are strength 4, you inherently give your opponent -1 to save, and it goes up. So like, and I don't think it's too hard to give yourself an additional strength here and there. So like, 5 is Rend 2, 6 is Rend 3.
If I remember correctly, if you just held a great weapon, which gives you the strike last roll, you got strength 5 or something like that.
Right. Well, so it's heavy weapons are +2 strength, and most things have a strength 3. But like, I used my cannon, which is a strength 10 weapon.
Have fun taking no saves. Yeah.
Right. So like, well, here's your minus. Was it 6, 7? Like
probably.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
But no, we had an absolute blast. We are actually actively working on building up our own 2,400 point armies.
All right.
So see,
that is
well, one of the fun parts about it is trying to actually find the models.
Okay. Fair enough. I guess eBay might be starting to run dry on a lot of the old world stuff.
Well, one of the fun parts is the easiest way to find things is STLs.
Okay. So we're going to 3D print our armies up.
Right.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
So, like, because again, for me, like, thinking about the Dwarf Army, the Warriors, Hammers, Warriors, Thunderers, and Quarrelers are all gone. Same thing with Miners and Rangers.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about miners and rangers. Yeah.
And what's funny is like, and I know we talked about this previously on our dwarf episode, but literally miners and correlate or miners and rangers fix the current problem with dwarfs in AOS. Mm-hmm. Miners can come up from the, I think that'd be 6 inches at the board edge, I think, and the turn they come up, they are in cover, whereas rangers can be placed anywhere on the board outside of 9 inches.
Sounds pretty good.
Which is insane because they come with crossbows that are ridiculously good.
Ripping people up, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, and I realized I put on a Big M Power Hour shirt today.
There we go. There we go.
Go to the merch store and get a Big M Power Hour shirt.
There have been a lot of folks I see on Twitter buying the Double Turn Me Daddy shirt.
Yeah.
I see all of you.
Yeah. I mean, it's great, man. I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah, it is.
Whether they know where it's coming from or not.
Heck with you guys if you don't, but if you do, thank you.
But with that being said, we do got a lot of news and we got a lot of everything. So let's get right into it here. All right. So starting up first, we got AOS in 40K with the June 30th Lore of the Leagues, the Anatomy of the Kin. So they, boy, man, that's.
You're excited for this army, aren't you?
Well, so yeah, so two things going on with this. First off, I'm super excited for this army. Every time they release something, I'm fully on board with it. The second thing is, I would not want a significant other like GW in regards to this. There is no, this is the closest thing to hobby blue balls that you can possibly do. We are now going on 4 months.
And I did tell you when I expect them to finally release it, right? All right, so I think you're going to be holding off for quite some time.
I'm getting to the point where I think what they're going to do is they just set up next year's April Fools to go, idiots, we're not bringing back squats.
There we go.
I got the picture on the screen where they compare the Primaris next to the I can't remember the name of the
kin.
Yeah, the Hearthguard kin, I think. They're not out yet. I'm not bound to learn all their names yet, all right?
Not yet. No, not yet. Not until you have an army of them.
Literally comes just above his waist. That's
right.
And it's the same thickness. I love all the artwork, man.
Yeah, it looks great.
All the artwork is so on point. Man, again, just terrific, man. And then, so right after that, they showed Terminators.
Yeah, they did.
So I absolutely love these. Again, one thing I have to try and figure out for myself is if I want to try and do those blades or not.
I feel like they show up, as we'll show, in so many other spots, being like these plasma blades. I think it's something you're gonna have to learn.
Yeah, and I think I can. I don't think it's too.
I don't think it's beyond your grasp.
Yeah, I think basically start off with a yellow and then do an orange over top and do the red at the same time to blend, and then just a edge highlight of yellow or orange. Now, I will say, since these guys have been revealed earlier in the month, the first off, shoulder-mounted cannon, fucking yes, please, thank you. Now I will say the guy with the helmet looks a little StarCraft Space Marine to me.
I can definitely see it.
So the goal is going to be to paint them. Use as few helmets as possible. I think that's kind of consistent. That's when one thing is consistent. I think the lowest thing, if I had to pick something I don't like, it is their helmets that go beyond their heads.
Okay.
They're all these big dome helmets. Even if you look at the Necromunda guys. Again, by no means is it an issue or problem, but it's that's probably the one thing that kind of I'm I could do without. But still, I still love this whole model. So yeah,
Yeah.
bring it on, man. All right, so then we move along to 4th of July, where we got the actual 1-year anniversary of 3rd edition, I believe, right?
I
Close
believe
enough.
so.
Where we got the new FAQs and erratas to tighten up Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being anything super.
Not that I can remember.
I mean, everything was fine. I don't think there was any
Mhm.
issues or anything like that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can't remember anything jaw dropping that happened during that update.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I said
yeah.
it was fine. The which was this? Was this a Battle Scroll as well? Yeah, this was the Galette balance update with the.
Yeah.
Let me just pull it up here real quick. No, that was June. That was month before. Never mind. All right. So then we got on July 7th, Middle Earth Armies of Defense of the North. So this is their most recent book. Defense of the North came out with some more
Right.
match play and stuff like that. Just a couple more rules, tiny bit more rules, and this is kind of their focus on the armies that you can find in there. Um, Again, man, anytime you're going to see Middle Earth on here, expect it to be on. Anytime you see Middle Earth on the Warhammer community website, expect to see it on here shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
You just got to give it a try. It's the way they have the rule set built. It is inherently a very balanced game. Um, it is definitely more. It's more your ability than your list.
It's always good.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's one for you. July 8th. Tremble before the rage of Angron.
Yeah. That is an awesome model. Thank you for whoever dropped the potato image that caused this to get actually shown to us.
Yeah, I mean that's that is a
He's an
hell of a
angry
model.
boy. Yeah, it is.
Now
Love it.
I do have to say at this point, um, what do you think they're doing with the loyal Primarchs?
Honest answer, I
Yeah,
think they don't know which one they should release. Uh, Either that, or we are just going to get all of Chaos first, and maybe we'll start sprinkling in a good story reason now that GW seems to actually be kind of moving the story of 40k along and all that.
yeah, that's true.
Maybe we'll have more of the Chaos Primarch show up, and then, okay, the Lions finally showed up. Okay,
I'm wondering
yeah.
if we're not going to get like say how with Age of Sigmar we've been getting 2 battle tomes at the same time.
Mhm.
What if
He has a counterpart
I was
whenever
gonna
he
say,
comes
like,
out.
what if beginning of 10th edition, it's Dark Angels and Space Wolves, and we get both Lionel Johnson and Lehman Russ at the same time?
It's possible. Yeah. Them both coming back at the same time.
That way you would even up the odds, and you would get 2 armies that desperately need updated models.
Yeah. I think the only other thing that stops GW from doing more loyalist ones is they're probably too afraid they're going to look very samey. Whereas all these demons we've gotten so far for
That's
the
true.
Chaos ones, they are very different models, every single one.
I mean, I think they've done the flavor of each Primarch differently enough at this point that I feel like it'd be pretty easy for them to differentiate. But I can see what you're saying, though.
Right.
We'll see. Anyways, whoever sculpted this, great job. Again, I don't know why they don't give out your names, but good job.
Really?
You know who you are. Okay, then we had on July 10th, we had, I forget if it was that weekend or the weekend before, where we had a summer skirmish preview.
Oh, yes.
So, that was okay. It was okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was fine.
We've definitely had better weekend reveals, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm cool with it.
I like seeing a Kroot kill team.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
kind of
that'd
fun.
be cool. Yeah, definitely. The Underworld's warband, the models are very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Let's okay. We'll just touch base real quick. Necromunda was fine. I don't necessarily. It's not really my thing,
Yeah,
so I don't really. But
fair enough.
yes. So even though I don't play Underworlds anymore, I will be getting this warband.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
With Chuck, with his little group that he gets together to play other random games, they're working on trying to get a Mordheim thing together.
These guys would be perfect.
And there is a Witch Hunter warband. So with this warband and
Done.
I don't know if I need what's his face from Curse City or not, but then the father daughter situ combo.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, you could easily cover them.
Band. Yeah. So again, I think all of these models are amazing.
Awesome.
I love and feel bad for the dog with one eye with an eye patch.
Yeah.
Now I will say, who's the guy? Do you remember the? It was I think it was a Saturday Night Live sketch with the actor that's he's older and he's dressed up as a young kid and he has a shirt that says rock music or something, music band.
Yeah, crap.
I can't remember his name, but whoever sculpted the lady was watching that sketch way too much.
Yeah, I can see it now that you say it. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but up until like there's like this weird divide. Like whenever they came out with Sisters of Battle, it was like there was one person that could not sculpt female faces, and that's who they keep getting to sculpt all the female faces. I might try and get a alternate head sculpt for that one. That's not.
I think that's a pretty easy swap as well.
I don't like.
So. Yeah, I don't
like
know.
The face. Like this is just. I don't know. Like the face is very. And then just the straight bang cut with the no.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the curls on the side personally.
Nope.
I get the idea. I feel like I've seen it in that time period before, but not for me.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, we're just going to move along here. So then they talked about we're getting our second edition of Warcry.
Yep.
The terrain looks awesome. The war bands look okay.
Yeah, I have to agree. They're okay.
It's okay. I'm not a huge I like the idea of the Nurgle Swamp guys. And I'm all about them worshiping Nurgle without knowing that they're worshiping Nurgle.
Right.
I think the aesthetic is on point. It's just not for me.
That's fair.
I still don't like the guy they showed last time from it, but these guys I think all look better. Like all the bamboo is integrated more naturally.
Yeah.
And then we have the blasphemous fucking Horns of Hashut with all humans.
Yeah. How they did that to you guys.
I just... Why?
Just to mess with people. Just to mess with them.
Like... Even if they would have just made, like, the leader a Chaos Dwarf.
Nope. Can't even have that.
Can't
have nice things here.
Yeah, looking at the terrain, moving along. So, like, I actually kind of like the aesthetic of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have to agree.
If they sell them separately, I might pick them up depending on how they play.
Okay.
If you guys if people start getting interested in Warcry, because like I said, as of right now where I am, no one plays Warcry, so
not too hard.
Yeah. But again, I also still say that there's a big balance issue with Warcry.
Yes. I can't disagree with that at all.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember, it's not in here. I don't think. Oh, it is. It's right in here. So if you look at the first terrain, I think it's first, Yeah, right below the Horns of Ashut, the first terrain feature with the big skull in the tree.
Yeah.
And then look at the lower, the small picture with the, you'll see Seraphon symbols.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
That's the, remember the rumor engine?
Oh, they got us.
Oh,
that was also the one horn.
And the horn up there, too. Yeah.
I know. I was really disappointed about the horn.
I'm pretty sure I called terrain for both of those, I think.
I think you did, too. I'm very sad to admit.
Can't get them past me, man.
Apparently we can't. I just need to quit this guessing game and let you go at it.
Just wait till you see some of the ridiculous stuff I predicted. Go play. What did I do? Oh, so on July 12th, they actually did a cosplay roundup for Warhammer World. They had Karn the Betrayer, and I believe those are supposed to be Sisters of the Battle.
Yeah.
It's hard to see for the profile, but...
yeah, I think that's what they're supposed to be.
Man, there's the guy that did...
Yeah.
A Horus.
Horus. Full-on Horus.
Ridiculous. Yeah, man, that's so much...
It's awesome.
It's so great, man. That's...
Yeah. It is. And the guys that did the Emperor and all that stuff. Or Regal Dorn, I guess. Yeah.
Can I say, like, I really feel like Rogel Dorn could really stand to use a redesign.
It wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't
hurt him. Let's see. Oh, then on July 18th, we got more Leagues of Votann.
Yeah, we did.
With their fucking space buggy.
Yeah.
With 2 plastic canopies. Oh my god.
Just what you wanted.
I know. I was like, this looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate subassembly so much.
Well, guess what you'll be doing now, because I'm sure you're going to want to paint inside that cockpit and have the glass. It looks so good with the glass.
I don't know how people just prime over it. Like, because on, like, the... what is the Space Marine one? Well, I know there's the Space Marine one, and then the Eldar has... It looks similar to Blackbird or Blackjet or whatever.
Yeah.
And people just prime right over it. I'm like, how? And
again, so I do that, and it's because I don't want to paint the cockpit.
I just can't.
So there you go. That's how.
I love all the head sculpts so far.
Yeah, they're all great.
Let's see. I pulled up also from July 18th, the focus on the Rotmire. Okay. Yeah, we already talked about him.
Yeah, it's cool. Nargle.
And then
good job at it.
On the 20th, Horns of Hashut. The one thing that I actually read this one like line by line.
Come through it. Yeah.
I was like, give me what I want to know. And I think there is one line in here somewhere. I can't remember if it's here or somewhere else. But there's one where it actually says... I might have it saved on my phone. Oh, I turned my phone off so it wouldn't bother me. There's one part that it talks about these guys are always... Yeah, right here. Marching ahead of his legendary Dwarven legions, they conquer regions, lay waste to all life forms, leaving behind only wastelands for sprawling demon forges and dark armories. So I'm going to take that as saying that this is confirmation that Chaos Dwarves are coming.
Because dark armories. That's why.
Yeah. Well, it says right here, the Horns of Hashut take their name from evil Dwarven deities they worship. Or from the evil Dwarven deity they worship. They also act as heralds of ruination. So clearly that means the Dwarven are right behind him.
Right.
Because these guys probably have a 5-inch move. Yeah, they have a 5-inch move, and the Dwarven have 4. So.
And once you start going miles and miles, it really adds up.
It adds up after. I mean, hell, it adds up after 5 rounds. Imagine.
Yeah. Oh boy.
July 21st, we got an interesting Middle Earth range rotation.
Yeah.
So I was really shocked to see the Dunedain of the North, the Rangers of the North, and the Lords of the Dunedain. Putting these three kits into retirement, that's the entire army.
Yeah.
So there's also the Rangers of the North kit, but you typically take Duarden and Rangers of the North. Right. Or sorry, I forget how they would break it down, but there's a generic Ranger kit that goes for a couple different armies. But yeah, by the three of those kits being put away, it basically says, "Hey, Ranger players, you're done." Right. And the day this came out, I looked up each one to try and buy maybe a couple more kits just so I had them, and they were all sold out already.
Wow.
So I don't know quite what that is about. I kind of hope that, well, we'll talk about in a little bit. I hope there's some connection.
Right.
And Ranger captains, Faramir, Madril, and Damrod, I'm pretty sure they just came out of retirement. I'm not 100% sure about that. Yeah. Now, with that being said, they are putting Blackroot Vale commanders out, which have been in retirement since I've been into the fiefdoms, which has been a couple years.
Gotcha.
The same thing with Isildur. He's been out the entire time I've been into the game. I wouldn't mind if they maybe do the rotation a little quicker.
Right.
Because again, like, we're literally talking about maybe 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh yeah, that is a little slow if you're trying to keep a game fresh.
Right. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
What do we got? Oh, we got the miniature of the month. This is a first time unique model.
Okay.
And it is one of the Rotmeyer guys. And not a Chaos Dwarf, like it should have been. And then we got, I believe, the second to last League of Votann article from the month,
right?
July 28th. I was very excited about it. I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, man, I can't wait to see what they're going to do. Maybe they're going to show the different paint schemes for the different guilds." And no, it's probably like the shortest article. So, well, maybe not the shortest, but it definitely gives the least amount.
Yeah. The art's very cool. I think by the time they were done giving us all these articles, if you just want to look at the pictures in your codex, they're probably all going to be here, honestly, at this current rate.
They're going to give us every single picture they've ever drawn of these guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got? Oh, so now we're up to today, the day of recording. We have Light the Beacons, the Middle-earth strategy battle game Warhammer preview online this Sunday. So this is going to be...
This is where you're hoping we get our Ranger answers, right?
Right. Well, like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to... I guess... I don't know, because we have the tournament this weekend, but this is at 7 a.m. our time, thanks, GW. In here, they blatantly say that they're not doing anything about the Rings of Power. I forget if they say at least not yet or what, but I'm glad that they came out and just said that.
Right. Don't make people wonder.
Right.
Just don't worry about it.
Right. It's not, we're still doing the motion pictures, and I'm sure that has a bunch to do with the rights. Because...
Definitely.
I know what was it? So they got rights to the motion pictures, and they had like some sort of... They got some extra rights for characters not showing up in the books because the studio got access to the characters but chose not to use them.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we have things like Tom Bombadil.
Right.
However, the Rings of Power doesn't have the rights for a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And so they are in a very awkward position with rights to begin with. So how that interacts between technically the four of them, if you go GW, Rings of Power, the movies, and the Tolkien estate.
Jeez, yeah.
And again, I hope we don't get a new edition. And I know it sounds weird, but I don't think the game needs a new edition. I think it just needs new models.
So, how old is this edition currently?
I don't know. It is if it was a mainstream game, if it was AOS or 40K, it would be a new edition.
Right. Well, with them having released new editions for almost every other game GW makes right now.
My only concern is
you love the balance where it is currently.
Right. Where Middle-earth strategy battle game is right now is in the realm that it should be. Sure, it could be tweaked or updated a little bit, but where GW is with their rule making and their headspace, it's not compatible.
Gotcha.
There's no way that they could, with their current mindset, current game philosophy, make this a better game.
Okay.
And like I said, we can go over more of that next month.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Obviously, next month we will definitely be going over what is going to be revealed. I'm super excited, and to everyone that gets stuff for their army, congratulations. I'm sure it's going to look awesome. I don't think they've ever made a bad model. And there was the Warhammer community site that I pulled out and lost. Okay. And then also came out earlier today, free Warcry rules.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. Just helping keep up on a couple little things. That's all.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Let's take a look here. Let's see the Lord Imperatant. I don't know why he has a ranged attack now.
Trying to think. I don't believe that the does the base model? Don't think it has a ranged attack. The base model. He kind of does because he's just going to give his command point off to a shooting unit, but you know.
Yeah, he's still got the same two icons. It looks like the damage is same on the melee. Yeah, and we'll see.
Yeah, he just flat out got better. Lost 2 wounds.
right, for a little bit more. And it looks like the Vindictors got better.
Yeah, extra swing, always good.
Extra swing goes down by 10 points.
Seems all right.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
And then obviously through the rest of the week we're gonna get destruction and chaos and blah blah blah. Yeah. And then finally we got our last thing, the Kethonian Berserkers. I don't.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't even know what to say, man. Like, they're so ridiculous. Between those insane weapons that they say are for mining, like the plasma cutter would be. This would be terrible for mining.
Right. I can't imagine. Like, okay, I'm just gonna hit the rock with a giant sledge.
Now that I can get.
Everybody, maybe. If it was a pickaxe, I'd be with you more.
Well, again, so like the hammer and the fists. Fine. I can. Okay.
Sure. We're grabbing the rock and stone with the fist. I can give you that.
But the large flat glaive.
Maybe there's something underground we got to really cut into.
It looks 10 out of 10.
Oh, without a doubt.
The lore behind it, I'm questioning you a little bit. Like,
right.
Even if these guys were just the guardians of the mines and didn't actually mine themselves. Done. You solved your problem. Right. But now you're giving yourself problems that didn't exist previously. Now, there is one thing I will say about these guys.
Mm-hmm.
What's with the beard action going on here, huh?
Or the lack thereof, huh?
Right. Is there a beard here? I don't think... Yeah, we got one beard. We have...
Yeah, we have some more goatees or a mustache.
We have a lady, which I'm fine not having.
Right. She doesn't have to have a beard.
Then we have the Vince Ventrello.
Yeah, yes, we do.
And then we have my dad.
Okay.
Then we have the Stone Cold. And then we have an actual beard, which again, this should be the least amount of beard we see.
Right.
Like, I want to start at a coal and go out from there.
And just improve from there. Yeah, agreed. We should get to full on Duck Dynasty beard by the end of it.
Yeah. So, like I said, I had some green stuff attempts made this month on my Mega Gargants. Did not go very well. Went well enough.
Well, you've got time.
But I might have to make some little beards. Make some little beards. Yeah.
No, these look awesome. I love the mining belts they're all wearing and everything. They are the strong folk who decided they needed a little bit extra more. That's all.
I say,
the tattoo, awesome.
I can't wait for this army. It's just, it's so good.
Yeah.
And like, there's no way they're going to put this much effort into an army and have garbage rules.
I hope that you're right for your sake, because I'll be honest with you. I don't think you even care at this point, because I already know you fully bought it.
Yeah. Again, my thing is like, as long as I can get on the table and play the way I want to play and not get run off the table.
Fair enough.
Those are my, like, how many times have you open-handedly beat me and we still had a great game?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like, I'm used to losing at this point. It's fine. I just want to have fun.
Make me feel bad.
Fun in the interim. That's
gotcha. At least make it an enjoyable 2 hours.
Yeah. So what I'm kind of hoping that they kind of get the same like Sisters treatment, where they come out and they're smoking out of the gates, and then GW goes, well, let's a little bit, and then everyone else goes away.
Yeah. And you can be the guy who remains.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. You ready for the palate cleanser?
Why not?
Yep. Okay. So, 5th of July, we have Shackles.
Yes. Not a clue.
I mean, like, I have a feeling if we go back and look at the Horns of Hashut,
might be in there.
They might be in there. Like, that looks like their chains are there, the spiky bars are there. If not, this is definitely something Warcry somewhere.
I don't think I disagree with that at all.
I have a hard time seeing this as a unit thing or an army thing. This has to be something skirmish.
Probably correct.
All right, then the 12th.
So, I want to say that this looks like it is more Seraphon. However, the larger piece of this idol, it almost makes me think Tzeentch, the way it looks.
I agree. So, I think it is Tzeentch. I think this is going to be something we're going to see with their new release. The flame is the exact shape of all of the standard bearers and everything. And then also, if you watched Warhammer Weekly, Vince said that the bottom side on the where you see all the runes, in old Tzeentch, I remember it was Battle Tome or Army Book or whatever, they actually had those runes as Tzeentch runes.
Okay.
So like each one actually means something. So yeah. So I expect that we're going to see this one probably pretty soon, or it's going to be a warband that we'll see in a year and a half.
One of the two.
Okay, moving right along to the 19th.
Yeah. Boy, this one has stumped me ever since I first saw it.
It's just a weird hand placement.
So here's what I'm thinking. This hand has nothing to do with the weapon. So hand here, weapon way over here. Thinking somebody's holding this weapon with their left hand and they're pointing with their right.
Possibly. I definitely think it's something human.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I mean, like AOS human. Like I think it's something.
Yeah, no, this is definitely AOS of some sort.
Which is weird. Like I guess
band or what? Don't know.
Well, I mean, we already got the one warband, and it's clearly not there. So I'm wondering if there might be a little bit further along with
cities and what we're thinking.
Yeah, what was that called? The Dawnbringer
Crusade.
Yeah. I'm wondering if
it's
that's
possible. Maybe what they showed us was way far back at the beginning.
Yeah, or they have one or two, just one or two units that they've already kind of got together.
Could also be a Curse City thing.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. July 26th. We got a Bowie knife with a spike on a pole.
Yeah, so I think I saw something floating around Twitter. I don't know how official the image was, but I think this is a Kethatian halberd. These are the jungle fighters of the
Mm-hmm.
Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
Somebody had some old art of somebody showing one of them holding it.
Yeah, I saw a really old. Someone on Reddit had a picture of an old model that had this exact
Okay,
thing, but he was like holding it like straight up and down.
yeah. So I
So,
think that's what it is. It's hey guard players, you're gonna get more stuff, which is always good because those models are also old.
yeah, yeah. That's, I mean, man,
Yeah,
I don't know how 40K players do it. Like,
you gotta wait for your turn. Like
we get
AOS, we are spoiled over here.
right, right. They're like,
Like,
hey, man, it's been like 2 months since we've given those guys something. We should probably.
yeah. Meanwhile, the Eldar players who finally just got models this last little while
Oh, I know.
ago are just like, it's been 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's now the one thing with the Eldar is like the aesthetic was so
Right. I think the original sculpts were so good that it
right,
didn't start showing its age till like the last 5 to 7 years ago.
right, right. It basically until you saw
The
um,
current
the Yanari,
level. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The Inari made it go, oh,
and
that's
even
pretty
then, it
good.
wasn't even necessarily that the style was off. It was just the sculpting was
Was simply
in
better.
right. It
It
was
was
just
more
an old
modern.
school sculpt.
Yeah.
Oh, and so here's one thing I could show you here that I forgot to talk about. So
Oh.
I ordered um, everything of the new contrast.
Oh, I did remember you saying that. Yes.
So I got
Madman.
I'm tempted to, like I don't want to necessarily use them, but I got the paint water and not paint water
Not paint
mugs.
water. Oh, beautiful. So you can get that wrong.
But yeah, so they came in nice little boxes and everything.
Awesome.
So what's very funny is I got one box that had all of the contrast and these in them. And then I got
Okay.
another box the same day with a couple of shades in it. And then
Okay.
the next day, I got another box with a singular shade in it. And then 2 days went by, and then I got another box with the 2 cans of spray paint that I ordered. And then 2 more days went by, and I got another box with 2 shades in it. And then another day went by, and I got another box with a singular shade in it.
Okay.
So I got 6 boxes total.
GW. Heads up to your warehouse workers. You might want to go back through some training with those guys because you paid for shipping 7 times over.
Yes.
Twice, I'd have gotten 2 separate places, perhaps.
Yeah.
5, 6 times. Ooh boy.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that I thought was interesting was like whenever I went to order the spray paint or order the primer, it said like we will never ship these by themselves. You have to buy something else.
And then they showed up by themselves.
Yeah, and then the 2 bottles showed up by themselves. So I'm like, I'm sure that paid quadruple price for shipping for that. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
and then like thankfully though, all of the shades that showed up later were ones that were just the reformulated, none of the new ones. I
Oh,
got all the
okay,
new stuff in
good,
the
good.
original. So
All right.
which I have been using a little bit. I haven't gotten because they're very bright, and I don't have too many uses for super bright stuff on Mega Gargants.
That's fair. Yeah, your current project, you don't have too much of a need for them.
Right, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to see that.
I did so. I got to use the Crusader skin from
Okay.
Speed Paints on them. So I'm sure you remember me complaining and grumbling about the skin on all my current megas or all my
Right.
giants.
Yeah.
the one kind of looks as kind of like my normal standard.
Yeah.
It's a little splotchy.
We all have a standard.
Right.
It's okay.
It's a little splotchy, not the end of the world. The other one, you're going to go like, who painted that?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like
that's with this new speed paint stuff.
Yeah. Well, because again, it doesn't contrast as much. Okay. So it doesn't streak, but at the same time, it's not as apparent when it goes into like grooves and stuff.
Okay. Which, I mean, it's fine. Whenever my skin goes into grooves, it doesn't get dark. So fair enough.
So again, it's a real pro and con sort of thing where it's like it's not better than contrast. It's what am I doing?
Place.
Am I painting a brick wall? Am I painting a coat? What are, like, because it's going to be perfect for, like, again, coats, cloaks, capes. Like, it's going to be perfect for all that. But again, whenever it comes to anything like fur, stuff like that, I'm going to go back to contrast.
Okay.
Any sort of large, smooth plates, speed paints it is. Hopefully they come out with a second edition with some more color variation, because that's really the only complaint I have about the speed paint so far.
That's fair.
And I also went back to some of the first stuff I did with speed paints.
Yeah.
Tried to reactivate the paint. And
that's what I was going to ask you, is if anything ended up reactivating on you.
I think my theory is right. I think the people that were complaining about the speed paints a couple months after the initial release, that was just a second wave that had an issue.
Okay. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. So you have the Big M Power Hour seal of approval for both
there we go.
Contrast, speed paints, and new contrast. And new shades.
Awesome.
I don't like that the new shades are a little off of the previous hue.
So whenever you go to use them again, yeah, you're right.
I think it's going to be one of those things where you're the only person that's going to notice.
Yes, I know that you're correct, but I will notice is the problem.
Well, what I'll do is I won't tell you on my Mega Gargants which use the new Agrax Earthshade and which use the old, because it's not going to be what you think.
Okay, so it's not the new models are using the new Agrax?
Yeah. Well, so I thought I grabbed the new one, and I actually grabbed the old one.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, no, wait, I want to use the new stuff.
Alrighty then.
So I said, you'll be able to tell that there is a difference, but you won't. I don't think you'll be able to tell which is which. And again,
okay.
This is probably right before you came on board, where the pots used to just have the name of the color, Citadel, and then had the black tops.
I actually had a couple of those paints, and they were like the hexagon shape.
That was even before. So
okay, so I had a couple of those as well.
So those were the hard plastic ones.
Yeah.
So whenever we went from hard plastic to the soft plastic the first time around, all the hues kind of shift a little bit there, and then whenever we went from there to the current line, they kind of shifted again. So it is what
we're just continuing the shift, so that you have to keep buying the new stuff.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's see here. Let's go into 3rd edition 1 year later. Let me pull up this. Go. You lucky ducks, you get a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
So in this presentation, we are going to be we're going to talk about initial impressions, new edition, like the new additions to the edition. Talk about big changes, effects on match play and narrative play, and then my final thoughts. Everything on these slides is basically my opinion, and Cole will be adding his on top.
Right.
So getting started here. So under my initial impressions, I was hesitant but optimistic. I loved a lot of the new ideas like command abilities, but I was unsure of the additional bookkeeping that came along with this stuff. And then, of course, I loved the new numbering format for all the rules. I thought that was going to make things so much easier, which they have.
Yeah, agreed. I think that nobody can look at the current rules organization of go look it up on 13.1.
Right.
God, that makes things so much easier whenever you and your opponent are both flipping through the book and you're like, where was that? Here.
Right. Now, I will say that I have heard, like, new people come into the store, look at those rules, and they do get a little intimidated.
I can see that more than whenever we started AOS and we were, here's your 4 pages and call it good.
Right. But wait, what?
Yeah, yeah.
What other initial impressions do you have? What was your you read through it first? Were you excited? Were you nervous?
So yeah, definitely nervous whenever we first made the change. I felt like I had a very good grasp of 2nd edition.
Yeah,
Understood
same.
the inner workings. I really enjoyed it. I have to agree, I was pretty hesitant about the addition of all the bookkeeping and everything like that, having so many different things. However, having played 40K at that time as well,
Yes.
I looked at it. Yeah, I looked at it and I went, oh, there's only going to be 1 secondary per round instead of the 3 that I'm currently tracking the entire game of 40K.
I don't know
So
how
I was
that
a
went to
little bit
print, man.
happier that way.
I don't know how that went to print.
Hey, it not only went to print, we've stuck to it thick and thin.
Oh, I know.
And I understand it now. I think it is interesting over here in AOS land. And I think, especially in the last grouping of 3rd edition, the last year, it was very interesting the play of how do you stop your opponent from even hitting their secondary. Because it was kind of easy to hit a secondary or your, what is it? Battle tactic? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they certainly cured that with the new GA2.
Yeah, they did.
Which
I'm personally a fan of. I like it being difficult.
I've been playing with my sons, and no one has gotten all 5 battle tactics against me so far.
There's nothing wrong with that. I personally think if you get all 5, it is because you were that skillful to get it. It should not be okay, we all got all 5 because we were both playing the game and no one got tabled.
Well, we'll get to this discussion when it comes to the slide.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right. So the very first thing we want to talk about is the player's code. So I know whenever the edition kind of first came out, we kind of glossed over this. We just kind of said it was good and blah blah blah. So the next couple slides are really just the player's code, which I did not realize is this fucking long.
It is huge. Now that you've actually put it out in front of me, I'm like, oh dang! I just saw it. Went, oh, it says don't be a dick, and I moved on.
Right.
But
I want to kind of go through it a little bit here. So always be polite and respectful. I think that should be a rule for life, but that's
right. You're here to play a social game,
right?
You have to spend 3 hours with the person across from you. You should probably be a good person for 3 hours, huh?
Just I like the next one, so that one, sure, I get putting it in there, but then always tell the truth and never cheat. Well, now you're saying follow the rules and don't break the rules. That is kind of if that's the case, then you should have been hey, wash your hands after you go to the bathroom and don't murder anybody. It's
one of those, why is this even in here if that was your plan?
Might be this should be things that you wouldn't have thought of, or we're putting it into language you may automatically do it, but now you can see why, because arrive on time with all the things you need to play the game. Okay, sure, I can agree with that. Make a respectful gesture to your opponent before and after the game. Again, I think this is something that I automatically do. I think this is something most people do automatically.
Yeah, walk up. Hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. Where are you from? How you doing? How's your day going? How's your event going? Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like me. I always come up and I'd be like, wow, you're against me, huh? Bad day. Oh, with that list, I could see why. Well, let's get going.
Oh, wow.
Tell you, man, sports every time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Avoid using language your opponent might find offensive. This one kind of I get it, but it kind of sticks in my craw a little bit because it's I don't know my opponent.
Right.
Opponent might be offended by the word toast. I don't know. Or dice. In which case, I can't help you, bud. That's
right. Yeah, that's one of those things that if you do say something, I hope my opponent says, "Hey, you mind not saying that around me?"
I'll be like, hey,
Cool,
grow up.
done.
Why don't you be polite and respectful and don't question me?
Oh, jeez. Oh, it's going right to your head now. I can see it.
Ask your opponent's permission if you wish to use unpainted models or substitute models. I mean,
That was kind of, to me, that's always been an event thing.
Right. That's kind of my thing. Is like, if you are going to a pickup game at your local game for whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need your fucking permission to use models that like, hey buddy, worked 50 hours this week. I'm sorry I didn't get to paint tree revenants for your pleasure. Like it's
right. Yeah, I would never be upset if during a pickup game my opponent showed up with a bunch of gray plastic. Cool.
Now I will say for substitute models,
that is definitely a hey heads up
right
type thing.
Yep. Yeah, because like now again like so it's like we were talking about with fantasy.
Yep.
I want to field some dwarf rangers. So not only can you not find the old dwarf ranger models for Warhammer Fantasy, but if you do find them, they're fucking garbage.
So yes, you will not be using the dwarf ranger model from way back when.
But if I can look at my opponent's stuff and go, okay, those are supposed to be dwarf rangers, I can tell by their hoods and crossbows.
And bows. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no problem. I got it.
Cool. Yeah.
But if you're going to do like so okay, here's the original reason I got dwarf rangers was because I was trying to do a Cities of Sigmar Dwarden list, and I was going to use them as shadow warriors. So they were going to look like dwarfs, but they were going to be acting as elves.
Yeah.
So there, I was going to paint up my rangers, and then I was also going to paint up some shadow warriors and tell my opponent, these are what I have been using, but I do have these if you're uncomfortable with that.
Right.
So, again, I give you half, 50-50 on that one.
Yeah.
Offer your opponent a chance to examine your army roster before the battle starts. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Easy. Answer any questions your opponent has about your army and the rules that apply to your army. I would even go one step further on this one and be like, offer to run through how your army works.
First thing I do whenever I rock up at a tournament is I go, have you ever played against Deepkin before? Because if the answer is no, you don't know what my army's doing. So I need to make sure you understand.
Right. You need to know that your turn 3 is going to be terrible.
Right. I need to make sure that you understand this is what's going to happen on each turn. And when we get to turn 3 and you're like, what the hell, you asshole? I told you an hour and a half ago.
Right. Measure moves and distances carefully and accurately. The one thing I would add into here, because I agree with it completely, is I would put, and always err in your opponent's favor.
Yep. Always short yourself. If you're ever wondering, just short yourself.
Yeah. Let's see, then give your opponent a chance to examine your dice rolls before picking up your dice.
Yep.
And pick up your failures.
Yes, do not pick up successes, pick up failures. That should just always be a thing. And make sure opponent can see. I use a dice tray sitting behind me.
See, that's the problem with, like, as some of the bad back, I always have to sit. So, but I can never see in the dice tray. But I know that's me, and I'm like, you know what? If they want to cheat that bad to win this, go for
it. Right.
Ask permission before touching any of your opponent's miniatures. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'll tell you, I've never been told no. But I have been told,
please be careful.
That one's metal.
Right.
Which is greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Heads up.
Remind your opponent about rules they may have forgotten to use or that they have used incorrectly, especially when doing so is in your opponent's advantage rather than your own. Again, absolutely. This is whenever I have an opponent that does this, as someone that forgets rules frequently, that's whenever I know I have a good opponent. And I also typically lose to them. So don't think that by giving your opponent the heads up.
Changing. Yeah. I hear you, buddy. No, and always half the time, like what I was saying with playing Deepkin, partway through, especially if I see an opponent making a move that if they had information that they should have, they wouldn't make that move. Like,
Oh yeah.
hey, please remember I can run and charge next turn. Remember this is a thing.
Yeah.
Remember I will fight first this turn. Like when you make that charge, I'm going to be the one swinging. So
yeah. Never deliberately waste time during a game, which again, I don't think we need to put in things that are blatantly against
against the rules. Against sportsmanship. Yeah.
Because again, this is only going to affect you during a tournament, and I have yet to see a pack that doesn't say, slow play.
Don't get out ahead and then slow play.
Slow play is encouraged. That's
right.
I might be a little guilty of this one. Avoid distracting an opponent when they are trying to concentrate and be respectful of their personal space. Of course, I respect their personal space. I'm not getting up to get in your fucking face.
Yeah.
But I do like to gab a little at the table.
Yeah, I like to have a conversation with my opponent as well. And I try to do it during my own dice rolls because I can concentrate on my own dice rolls and have the conversation I want to have. Yeah, but sometimes I want to do it during theirs and I feel terrible.
I don't. If you haven't figured it out yet, guys, I like to talk a little bit. So
just a little.
Never complain about your bad luck or your opponent's good luck. I try to do this. I do it a lot more with people I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
When I'm playing with you guys, I'll say whatever the fuck I want. I don't care.
Yeah, I know you do. You'll let us know how terrible your luck is. Yep.
Now I will say, whenever I do it,
statistically proven.
Well, you
have bad luck.
A, we have the stats. B, I'm typically trying to make a joke about it or being funny. And C, there's a couple of us that bitch a little more than others.
That's
fair. Never fix the outcome of a game. The fuck is this? Is this some sort of boxing match? Like, I need you to go down in the third round. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
The only thing I can think of is like at a tournament, you and your opponent are both 4-0, and you're like, okay, we have to see who wins this, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to be able to make it if I make it today too, and I'm fighting my buddy. Hey, I'm just going to give you the game. That's all I can think of. But like,
I can't even.
I love you, Matt. But if you and I are ever 4-1 going to see who gets to be in day 2, you're going down. It doesn't matter how much you ask.
You wait. One day I'm going to figure out how to deal with that much incoming damage and your sushi.
Right, yeah.
All right. So that was the player's code. Overall, I think it's good. I think it was a little
hand-holdy
at times, but again, I think as far as hand-holding goes, I think some things need to be
just flat out stated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I don't agree with all of them, but the majority of them, the vast majority of them, I agree with. So, and then again, back to new additions. We got the new numbering system, rules organization, awesome. Mm-hmm. The new Path to Glory system.
Yeah. An attempt was made by our group.
Everything I've read about it, I really like, but the problem is the same thing that exists with all these times. It's like it's so hard to stick to.
Right.
It's very hard to actually have that slow grow league.
It is like a game of D&D.
Yes.
It's difficult to get off the ground and keep going.
Now, to be fair, I think if all of us were within like a half hour's drive of each other and we could meet up Sunday morning or something.
Easy.
Right.
Yes.
Other than that, like I said, I love the idea of it. I love the concept of it. I love certain books more than others. Like I love the Nurgle book trying to grow the Garden of Nurgle.
Right.
I do think it's a little flat. But as being a roll in to the overarching rules as opposed to its own supplement, I think it's about as good as it's going to get.
Yep.
And did you remember about Conquest Unbound?
I just read it and I legit Googled it before you asked me. I completely forgot this was a thing.
I saw it and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I had to look it up. So
I forgot all about it.
So I think we need to try Conquest Unbound at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to give it the old college try here.
Get some 3-player tunnel fighting in there, I guess.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I need to look up. I need to look over the Triumph and Treachery rules because I know the Triumph and Treachery rules were kind of brought over from Fantasy, almost untouched, and I don't think they did a very good job of it.
Okay.
Every time I've ever played Triumph and Treachery, rules is written prior to this edition. I've never liked it, and it's always felt clunky, and I don't like it.
That's why if you do want to play a Triumph and Treachery style game, you should go to bars.
Yes, exactly. Where I strong armed Neil into adopting my style of Triumph and Treachery. Well, because again, I don't. Like I said before, I don't remember this one. So, the original one, in your hero phase, you designated one player to be your opponent.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, you said I will only be able to fight this person this turn or something like that.
So if you were engaged with 3 players, you could only fight one of them.
I think I don't know fully how it worked, but
and like that was kind of it. And I'm like, well, that kind of leads you to like focusing down one person.
Right. It leads to 3 people saying one person's name for a round.
Right.
And that's it.
Whereas, like, the way we do it now is basically you can shoot whoever you want because one person's shooting, which is typically less than 2,000 points.
Right.
A split up amongst 3 players is much less scary than one person coming entirely at you.
Right.
And then for combat, if you're engaged with the active player, that combat happens. And it still only happens twice per full round.
Right.
I don't understand why that was so hard. But that's
completely really wasn't.
All right, so here we go. New editions.
Here we are.
Strategies.
Here we are.
All right, so not talking about the General's Handbooks. The idea of Grand Strategy.
Just the idea.
Where are you on it now?
In the current edition of AOS.
Right. Well, we're going with the concept. The concept of Grand Strategies.
But it's a couple of extra points at the end of a game if you achieve a goal of some sort.
And remember it.
I always remember mine. I don't know what you're talking about.
I forget them 90% of the time.
Understood.
So, what did you think about it when you first read it?
Whenever I first got it and read it, kind of seemed pointless to me. If someone had won a game, but then somebody somehow snuck a grand strategy through, completely changing that game, didn't seem right with me. Then we got the first round of grand strategies, which were laughably simple to get.
Yeah.
Like, if you did not get it, it's because you lost horribly. And now we're in our current edition of Grand Strategies, where it is actually difficult to get them, depending on your book.
Right. And
now I don't like them.
Yeah.
because of that. Yeah.
That's kind of where I was leading to. So, like, as a concept, what's funny is I actually saw it and was like, huh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then thought about the scenario where it's like the person who lost got their grand strategy and got enough to just pull that victory away.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played it and I was like, well, again, so with the first Battle Tome or the first General's Handbook, it was like, okay, well, I just have a lot of battle lines, so I'll just pick the battle line.
You just took that. Yeah.
And then 3 points. I don't remember the last time 3 points swung the game.
Not very often, because normally you both got your grand strategy.
Right.
Or you crushed your opponent and they didn't get it, and it didn't matter that you got yours.
And then And then now in the new General's Handbook, they are so hard.
Yeah, they are.
And they're so off the wall.
Yep.
That I hate the fact that they're in the game.
Yep. Now I don't even use the ones that GW has provided us in the General's Handbook. I go straight to my Deepkin book and I go, okay, cool. We're going to take this because they're easier.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, so we'll probably, I don't know if we'll touch on it right now. So,
okay.
As I said during our General's Handbook review, we're at the point where we need to have different tiers of these grand strategies. Because if I pick a simple one to get 1 point and you pick a hard one to get 4 points, and I get mine and you don't get yours, haha, it was easy. That's what we expected. But if you somehow are the superior player, manage me to lose all my battle line, and then you also hold a piece of terrain in each quadrant of the board.
Yeah.
And you go from being, I was 3 points ahead, and I was expecting to get that 1 point to be 4 points ahead, and you take away that 4 and you get 4. Now that's something that can make a difference, and the better player is going to see value in that.
Right.
But right now, where it's just, here's a bunch of shit. We looked at all the top armies and went, okay, the top armies should be able to get these no problem, and then forgot the rest of the armies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look at them. So again, I look at Vindictor Stormcast list.
Okay.
Nope, I can't get that shit. I can maybe get Galician Battle Line in every quadrant.
Yeah.
I look at it from a Fire Slayer's perspective. No. I look at it from Sons of Bahamut. No.
No.
And then on top of that, all three armies have god awful grand strategies in their battle tomes.
Yeah.
To further reduce it down, the Stormcast have it as, here's one if you're playing a dragon list, and here's one playing if you're doing paladins, and here's one if you're doing regular battle line. So even then, you only have a choice of one.
Yeah.
So this to me does nothing for the average player. This adds nothing to the gameplay. If anything, if you're trying to learn the game, you're already struggling to figure out, how is my opponent so much better than me with such worse armies? How is that guy with a unit of 30 Daemonettes beating my Blight? I don't understand.
Right.
But then on top of that, you also want me to go and take out all of the Daemonettes on his side of the table, and then also end in his territory and have no one in my territory. And no, you're just no. It's too much.
Yep.
It's either too much for too little or too little for too much. There's no, I can't come up with a balance for this. Outside of the tier list, which again, the tier list is again really only, okay, if you feel the need to have this is what you could do. Right. There's no world where I look at it and go, you know what, this is really fun. I really like this system. The only thing I could think of is maybe if you had them hidden, but then again, you go back to cheating.
Yeah.
But it was in the player's code, so you can't cheat. So
right.
Because that would be kind of fun. Is oh, I had to kill all your wizards. Is that what you were doing? You son of a bitch!
Right? Yeah. Is that how you did it? Yeah. If that was something you didn't have to reveal, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. But like I said, that would, again, to me, that's almost like a narrative thing or an open. I mean, I don't know. So 4th edition, let's get rid of grand strategies.
Okay.
Battle tactics. What was your initial take on the idea of battle tactics?
Kind of said it earlier. To me, it was, oh, cool. We're going to grab the Warhammer 40,000 idea for secondaries and bring it over here to AOS. I've kind of enjoyed them because they put a different spin on what you're doing for the turn. I'm not just caring about these couple objectives. I might also have to put myself out there to try and get something. The first one's not so much. I think this current group of them is going to make me put myself out there more in order to achieve. So that's where I'm at. I'm okay with the concept personally.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What if you weren't playing a mobile army or a high damage army?
Less so, because a lot of them focus on killing right now.
Right.
And also, I think that I am a little spoiled in that I'm playing an army that does have its own battle tactics in its book. Right. And I think that some books have been gifted better than others amongst their own battle tactics.
So far, the elves have done pretty well with their grand strategies and battle tactics.
I like the beginning of 3rd edition, where we all had the same ones, and we all were playing the same game.
Yeah.
And now we're not all playing the same game right now.
I will tell you, if I ran another event, I would say you cannot use your book.
I think that'd be a very interesting exercise, and I don't think it would be a bad one.
Now, again, like, I feel bad at the same time because there's some armies that are horribly skewed or I should say there's some armies that are at a horrible disadvantage with the battle tones and battle tactics and grand strategies that are present in the current General's Handbook.
Right.
But those armies are typically also the ones that have terrible grand strategies and battle tactics in their own battle tome or celestial battle tome.
Right, so it's not getting them anything anyway.
Yeah. Now, the only exception I could think of is Soul Blight. Mm-hmm. They have a grand strategy of hold more grave sites than your opponent.
Okay. Doable, I suppose. That's one of the...
I mean, especially considering you summon from them.
Right, yeah. So if you're losing them, you're not in a good spot anyway.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So again, like I said, I'm on the opposite stance of you. So when I first saw these, I tried to force myself to be positive about them, but I really didn't like the idea of the extra. Because again, like, I already struggle to try and outthink my opponent, outmaneuver my opponent, and actually try and win based off strategy instead of just, huzzah, I rolled enough 6s to win. Like,
right, I hear you.
So it takes that, and then it goes, okay, so not only do you have to focus on how to get yourself to the next round, you now also have to figure this out and how to get your extra points. Not even extra points, to get the standard amount of points you need in order to win this game.
Right, right.
And lost my train of thought.
You're okay.
Oh, and then of course, as we just talked about, some armies, if you are fast and killy, you are more likely to be able to complete more battle tactics.
Yep, I completely agree.
So like me, I like my defensive armies. I like playing defensive. That's why I like Stormcast. I like Nurgle. I liked Fire Slayers.
Right. You enjoy your dwarves. Yeah.
And so it basically just says, hey, I know that the way you want to play is one of the, like, core 3 or 4 types of gameplay style, but you personally can go fuck yourself.
I hear you.
And then also on top of that, like, unrelated to that, I know I'm pretty sure you've heard me talk about this before, but I hate what I call Babe Ruthing. Where you point your bat out where you're going to get the home run. Right. And so, like, I hate going, see that unit? I am going to kill that unit.
Yeah.
Like,
yep. Heads up, it's going to die. Yeah.
I hate doing that. A, because I don't like giving my opponents a heads up on what's going to happen, even though they probably already know. And B, I feel like a complete idiot when it's still alive 90% of the time at the end of the battle.
I hear you there. Yeah.
It's like, well, how many points is that unit? It's 240. Oh, cool. I put 800 points worth of firepower into it, and it's How many wounds you take? 2. Oh, great. Wunderbar. That's
Yeah, yeah,
um. All right. So moving along here. So
yeah.
then we got a new system for reinforcements.
Right.
Um. Oh, real quick, back
Yep.
to battle tactics.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's a bad. The problem is like I personally don't like it, and I'm
Okay.
trying not to be so um, in my own head that I'm striking it from the game, even though it's something that might have value. I
Mm-hmm.
think once again, it's one of those things where I don't necessarily think there should be tiers for this one, and I
Right.
think this is just a debatable point where I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the camp where this is something that should be completable. Like your
Mm-hmm.
expectation should be to get 5
Mm-hmm.
unless you misplay or your opponent super plays.
Okay.
Whereas I think you're on the other side where you should only get these if you are playing at the top of your game.
Right. I think that the average player should sit down and go, cool, instead of getting all 5, I expect to get 3 and might be able to reach for a 4. But if I hit all 5, awesome.
And I think I would be okay with that
Mm-hmm.
if that's the way it played out.
Right.
Because instead how it plays out is the people who always get the top 10 are going to get all 5 almost every single time.
Yep. Agreed.
And so all you're doing with that system in my mind is
Mhm.
the rich get richer.
I suppose I can see that.
I think all it does is it puts in that gap between the rankings. So you have the people that can get all 5 routinely, who were already winning beforehand, and before you had a chance, if you just outplayed them and got lucky with your battle tactics, you might be able to score a win. But now it's like, oh well, I got 3, he got 5, and he held
I
more.
mean, is it? I mean, that's part of outplaying you, though, is being
Well,
able to deny you your battle tactics.
and that's true. But again, someone in the top 10 is more apt at outplaying you 5 rounds
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to you outplaying them and getting one good round or one or 2 good rounds
Mm-hmm.
and finding yourself in a decent game as opposed to getting wiped.
I suppose.
Like I said, it's a debatable subject.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is a subjective right or wrong.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think there's a black and white answer for this
right.
as well.
And I
Yeah.
think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And so again, I think it's good that we have the difference of opinion because we
Yeah.
can talk to both sides to it.
Yeah.
So again, so that's my perspective. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I know that some TOs, to your credit,
Mm-hmm.
like to have that little bit of a separation between the top tier players, the mid tier players, and the bottom tier players, and that certainly
Mm-hmm.
helps.
Yeah, and it definitely helps with pairings after round 1 of keeping people of similar play style and level together. That way, everyone can have a fun event.
Say, man, just take the dive. Take the dive round 1. You're not going to go 5-0. Just go to the
Gotta
bottom.
try.
Go to the
Gotta
bottom.
try.
Feast
Gotta
on
do way
chum.
too well round 1, end up in the mix, and then get slapped back down where you belong. That's my normal.
No,
My
my
normal
normal is
event.
for some reason I do really well round 1. I go high up, and then I get smashed into top mid, and then I get smashed into bottom mid, then I get smashed into bottom, and
It's
come
all
back
good.
up one more. All right, so on to reinforcements.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the new reinforcement system? Of course, that
So,
being 4 reinforcement points.
yes, 4 reinforcement points. So, when I first heard this, I was against it, personally. Having now played the edition for a little while, I enjoy the idea of it, as I'm not just facing 3 blocks of giant units that are going to string along and go wherever they need to be. And it also makes it so that Battle Shock community for 1 CP is not as big of a deal because I can just hit multiple units instead of, well, they only put 130 blob in front of me, so I can only fight the 30 blob.
Yeah.
And if they do have one, yeah, they can have one. that's fine with me. So personally, I'm okay with reinforcement points.
Oh, so you
If Chuck is listening to this, he's gonna think it's a dig at him. I don't like that some armies are now starting to break reinforcement points.
interesting. Okay,
Stars. Yeah.
so you like reinforcements as is with no changes.
Yeah. Yeah, like all of us
Okay.
having the same idea whenever we walk up.
Okay.
Could I see the argument that if you are playing a Skaven army or a Grotz army, you should get more? Yes. But also, then we're just going to make everything Battle Shock immune.
I mean, well,
And then we are playing
that's
Battle Shock.
I think you're cementing too many things together.
Okay.
Um, I think there's nothing wrong with the problem. That it really boils down to is the fact that they don't quite have horde tactics or horde strategy, horde mechanics down.
Fair.
I think. I mean, I think essentially your clan rats should essentially, I forget what their bravery is, but I think even that might be a little high.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I think it might be 4 or 5.
Yeah, something like that.
And it probably should be 3 or 2. Like,
I hear you.
But again, at the same time, I also think Battle Shock immunity should be rarer.
Yeah.
And again, it has gotten rare, but the problem is like there's still so many times where people figure out how to weasel out multiple Battle Shock immunities.
Yeah, a lot of books have at least one way, and then we all have our General's Handbook way as well, which
Right.
if you have 2, you're pretty well bought Battle Shock immune across the board for a round.
Yeah, yeah.
At this point.
So as my opinion goes, whenever I first saw it, I felt it was very limiting, and I think I still feel that way. I think I would like to see some sort of change, like loosen the reins a little bit, but at the same time, I don't necessarily want the horde meta to come back.
Right.
But if we figure out how to do horde mechanics a little better, then it wouldn't be as big of a deal.
Right.
Like I said, I mean, I don't know. Like
I do think we might have a chance to loosen the reins a little bit on the horde meta, simply because in this edition we don't have any sort of horde discount, which we had back during our horde meta days of second edition.
Right.
So there may be an argument, I agree, to loosen them a little bit. However, with the current Galician veterans rules, oh boy, am I terrified of a horde of 30 anything right now. Oh, buddy.
I mean, so yeah, like I said, I mean, my thing is like I don't necessarily know if it's really so. All of my lists, it's never come up in my lists. I've never had an issue with it. So at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. I don't think it needs to be overhauled. I personally like and expected to see exceptions in horde armies that allowed this. You know, allowed exceptions and such.
Okay.
My only thing is like, just almost from not a real OCD, but quote unquote OCD perspective, I wouldn't mind being able to double reinforce all 3 of my battle line.
Right. Right. Give yourself 2 reinforcement points for like non-battle line, and if you are battle line, reinforce however much you want or something like that.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering like maybe like the first time you reinforce a battle line, it doesn't count.
Okay. Okay. That might be an idea.
That way, because again, like the last thing you want to do is like, I don't know, man.
Go open season and get right back to the horde meta. Yeah.
There's a lot in this edition, and this is one of the first. This is one of the things that I'm here on out. I'm probably gonna say a lot of, but there's a lot of stuff where they just pull the reins in so tight. Like, okay, so here we're gonna give you 3 annihilators. Okay, well, can I have 9 annihilators? not with the list that you currently have.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, it's like, but at the same time, hey, look, here's my 6 drakes, dragons. Well, now hold on.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. Like, I feel almost like what it should have done is it should have been a stat on the war scroll.
Okay.
Of where you basically have, it is elite, it cannot be reinforced, and can issue its own command points. It can be reinforced once, can be reinforced twice.
Right.
And then maybe what you could have done, like for rat clans or something, or grots, be like, can reinforce 4 times.
Right, right. And that could be something that you could easily update of, okay, we've messed up and we're allowing these to reinforce too much. They have lost 1 reinforcement point now. Right. They could go up. Yeah. Okay.
And like I said, I think that way you give your players more control for list building, and you're also keeping things under control. Or hell, another thing. This is probably a step too far, but I'm just going to put it into the ether.
Go ahead.
Where you limit the amount a war scroll can be reinforced across the army. So, like, zombies can be reinforced up to 6 times.
Okay.
But, and then of course there'd be some sort of squad limit,
right.
So you don't have 120 zombies in one block.
Right.
But you have to decide, okay, if I want to take, do I want to take 2 blocks of 3 or do I want to take 3 blocks of 2?
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I think that's a step too far, but it's an interesting, it's an interesting piece of cud to chew on.
Fair enough.
So yeah, overall, personally, I think if they didn't change it, it's fine, but it could be better. Here's a good way to put it. Reinforcements are fine, but I would like sprinkles.
Okay, gotcha. A little bit of tweaking on a per army basis might not be a bad idea.
Maybe sprinkles, maybe some chocolate syrup. We'll see.
Understood.
Okay, so here's a real big one: modifier limits / limit stacking, and by this, of course, I mean you cannot have more than a +1 to save, +1 to hit, +1 to wound. I think that was the limit on.
I think that is, yeah.
I read this and, well, here, I obviously went too in depth. Whenever I immediately looked at it, I went straight to in depth. But how about you tell me what you thought first about it?
First about it, I was very sad because I had a lot of armies that like stayed stacking to hits or saves or things like that. As I have played with it, I like the idea because I'm not just going to play against everybody hitting on 2s, winning on 2s.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with.
Yeah, I agree. I see that and I hear that, and I definitely agree. So what I see with this is I see a before we continue, I'd like to point out that Chuck has no idea what I'm saying and has no affiliation and does not condone the views and messages given in the Big M
in this podcast. Yeah.
It shows me a rules writing team that doesn't want to hold themselves responsible.
Okay.
So, and here's what I mean by that. They want to be able to write a rule. They want to write a battle tome that can give 4 different instances of +1 to hit.
Right.
And they don't want to worry about what can get that +1 to hit because they don't want anything to have +4 to hit because they put in this rule so they don't have to give a shit about it.
Okay.
We're at the point where, based on the universal rules, there is only one way to give +1 to hit.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. Yep.
For units.
Yeah.
For
Yeah. For a unit. Yeah.
So, how hard is it for you to write a battle tome to go...
That doesn't end up at +4.
Right. Hey, wait a second, guys. The way this battle tome is written, which elves can get +3 to hit?
Right.
As a bonus before all-out attack.
Right.
We should probably change. We should probably do a little bingo, because I know people don't like the keyword bingo, but that's the point of keywords.
Right. I agree.
This to me is lazy rule writing. Does there need to be a limit to the stacking? Yes. Yes, absolutely. You cannot have every single unit in every single game hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, re-rolling everything that fails, -4 rend, and 8 damage. We can't live in that world, even though we're getting close to it regardless.
So to play devil's advocate here,
yes,
is this maybe more of a concession to the fact that we've all seen that GW cannot update things as fast as an online game or other things like that? They have never been able to. The before times, whenever we were getting FAQs 2 weeks after a book, those are gone. That rules writing team is very slow at getting anything done.
No.
Okay.
And here's why.
Okay.
They could have a rules testing team in the hundreds.
They could. We have no idea truly how many there are.
I'm just saying, if they wanted to, they could.
Okay.
You can find 100 people in the Games Workshop community that would be willing to play test.
Don't disagree.
And then on top of that, you have people like Vince and Tom, who get a book Saturday
weekly, yeah,
and by Wednesday have pulled the thing apart, and they're not the only ones that do it,
right? And it's not like it was a difficult exercise, yeah,
right. So it is something that can be done easily, quickly, as long as you're paying attention and actually give a shit,
right?
Which again, based on the Fire Slayers book, they don't.
Right.
They, and this is where I think this is where you start to see some frayed ends on the rule set. Because again, there's so many times where I'll have a buff. And I don't think -1 to hit is as common as I feel like people talk about it.
Yeah.
Because you always say you can give them +2 in case you get that -1 to hit. I don't remember the last time. I mean, I was playing my buddy Tyler with his OBR that kept giving one unit -1 to hit, but
right.
Okay, well, most of my armies don't have the ability to do +2 to hit, so I'm hanging out in the wind now.
Right.
So it's again, with what you were talking about, with getting the rules out quickly enough. If you put in the rules, you can put an FAQ stating all the old battle tomes cannot stack, or all these battle tomes cannot stack. And then you go anything released, anything with the red binding, any battle tome with the red binding, they can stack if the battle tome allows. Or at the very least, I mean, +1 is so limiting.
Right.
And most of the times you're in a situation where you're using a once per game ability. Most of the time. So, like I said, I think this is lazy rules writing, and I think that they have to hold themselves more accountable whenever they come up with the battle tomes, and whenever they come up with the battle tomes, they need to remember the other battle tomes that they've made, along with the minutia of their rules, and not just what they think narratively is fun or whatever idea they come up with in their head that they're going to stick with. So yeah, So write better and get rid of that.
Sounds good.
Um,
Oh boy.
any what are your thoughts on my thoughts?
Um. So I don't know. It is difficult. I think we have proven in the past to write these games. I agree. What is needed is an editor who understands this game to the point that their job is to get that book before it gets sent off to press and be told break it like players are going to.
Right.
And someone that's, skilled enough at the game to be able to find something that's broken, do it, show everyone at the office and go, cool, I'm going to win every game now.
Right.
Piss off everyone else at the office, and then they go, cool, that'll never happen again because it's been seen.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I I was playing devil's advocate before. What GW needs is an editor who understands the rules of the game.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I agree. It's
I,
like they. Well, we'll get into the next one
mm,
here. We'll bring this into the next one. Cohesion.
hmm
What do you think of the new cohesion rules?
um, they can be a bit of a pain in the ass at times,
I agree.
more so than they need to be. I understand the issue they were trying to stop. I do. But I feel like it gets to be more of a pain than it needs to be at times.
Yeah, and again, like I said, you have those issues where, um, this really comes up with oval bases.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Whenever my horse unit whenever my 6 eels have to ride very strangely, of one dude kind of like Tokyo
drifting.
drifting
Yeah,
behind the group.
yeah, the kitty paw.
Right. It's you either have to do that or you have to have them in rank of 3 by 3. And you're like, well, why'd I reinforce this unit?
Right, right, and like so to me, I feel like there should have been an exception from day one regarding cavalry units.
Yeah, the cavalry up to X number
Right,
instead of at 5, make that at 6 or at 10.
right.
One of
Um,
those.
but so here's the thing: is like largely I don't mind it.
No, I agree. There are a few corner cases that come up that becomes a pain. And that's the only
I
times that I don't like it.
whenever so before whenever we had the units that would string out,
Yes.
that irritated me to no end. Like that felt bad.
Right. I didn't like it, especially because it was like we were regaining units back to a unit and
Right,
stringing out whenever that would happen.
right.
Boy, did that feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I know I've said this to you before
hmm
off stream, but if you're going to if you're going to have these cohesion rules, I think it's time we get rid of Holy Within.
Holy Within, I think, is still a difficult one for them to give up, but I can understand why, because we're no longer conga lining our way back to get a single toe in
Right.
to the bubble.
Right. And
So I can
again,
understand that.
the issue
Yeah.
is the reason why we got Holy Within was
Is because of that.
to stop the stringing.
Right.
Now we have cohesion that also stops
Which
the stringing.
really stopped stringing. Yeah.
We do not need two separate entities battling to fight
Mhm.
this thing that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Um,
Now, only other, I'll do devil's advocate one more time.
you know,
After we have shortened and made our board smaller, shouldn't getting Holy Within be easier now?
well, let's put it this way:
hmm
Fire Slayers.
Yep. Yep. Great example. Great example.
I mean, one of the reasons why the army is so neutered right now
hmm
is you pop up outside of 9 inches
Right.
of enemy units with a rune smiter and a block of Hearthguard Berserkers. The
Right.
Hearthguard Berserkers only get their ward save if they are wholly within 9 inches of a hero, friendly hero.
And now, after you've made that charge, you are no longer wholly within 9.
Because you're outside of 9,
Yeah.
if you make the 9-inch charge, you get punished for it, which means
Right.
there's no reason to deep strike.
Yep. You easily outpace your own ward save bubble.
Right. And so if they wanted to do... The problem is like... Because again, think about how many armies were hindered because of this. You have Fire Slayers. You have Old Night Haunt.
Yep.
You also have Mortals for Khorne.
Yeah.
Where, like, if they got this friggin' leash took off of them,
yeah.
they're not going to be these powerhouse armies, but you'd have people having a little more fun with them.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
So, like I said, I think the cohesion is fine because it gives you the opportunity to take a 32 mil base and decide, do I want this attacking from a second rank or not?
Right.
Outside of the current GHB.
Yes.
Of course, that's only Galician veterans, right?
Yes, it's only Galician veterans that get to fight the second rank.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Come on,
I was really excited.
So I don't have to take Galician veteran anymore.
Hey, it'll be here before you know it.
My God. So yeah, like I said, I think I like the cohesion rules more than I like Holy Within. And I would like to see Holy Within go away because I know whenever I was playing 40k and I didn't have to worry about Holy Within, I had a lot more fun. I felt more free to move around and actually do stuff.
Yeah, okay. I'll be honest with you. I think I'm kind of with you on it. And even if GW really felt like they needed to, like, take 3 inches off of bubbles and say no longer Holy Within or whatever. Yeah. Obviously, with like the Hearthguard one, you don't because you're already at the end. You're at the end of your leash. I feel like 9 inches should be like the minimum bubble in AOS because we have to pop up 9 inches away from an enemy.
Are you talking about a unit that's already like 6 inches long, 7 inches long? Like
right, yeah. This is rough.
Yeah, again, like I said, I absolutely believe and expect that those distances would change, but it would be better.
It would feel a lot better if, okay, cool. I've got 2 guys in the bubble, so even if I lose one, I'm still in the bubble. We're cool.
Right. I mean, it's so dumb that I'm sitting there going, well, I can't pile in with these 2 guys because then I'll be outside of my bubble.
Well, yeah, and it ends up looking very strange whenever everyone's on the very edge of their leash around a hero or something. Right. We're just like, what? Why are they in a circle? Well, because they have to be.
Right. I mean, like, because again, one of the things I like to think about is there are certain points where I like to kind of picture an actual battle going on.
Right.
And I can't for the life of me picture being right there in front of a fucking plague bearer and going, if I take another step forward, I can't hear what my guy's saying to me.
Oh, man. Yeah, I hear you.
So, yeah, cohesion, I'm more positive on, whereas the Holy Within, I've always been negative on. So, I think that's, for 4th edition, if we see that, again.
I'll be okay with that flip.
Wunderbar. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Monstrous Rampage.
Awesome addition to the game. Personally, think it's great. Even keep it whenever we're not inside of the monsters our best version of the game. I think this is awesome. Great change.
Yeah, I wish we had more than 4 options, which boil down to 2 options.
Yeah.
I get not being able to use them multiple times. I kind of wish there was like one that we could go to.
Yeah, it'd be nice if there was one like that was considered weaker than the others that every monster could always use, and you could just spam that one if you needed to.
Yeah, like imagine Intimidating Presence. -1 to leadership.
-1. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah.
And then like everyone can use that. It doesn't stack.
Right. One guy roars. Everyone else Intimidating Presence is cool.
Other than that, to run through them real quick, Roar, amazing.
Yep.
I wish it was on a 2-up.
Yeah. Yep. I like it being 3-up. It's good, but yeah, 2-up would feel real good.
Well, the problem is like if I could get paid for rolling 2-up to roar, or for rolling a 2 on a roar check, I would
retire.
I could have kids. I could put them in college through. Yeah, Stomp. I think Stomp is. If you say monsters get to do something before the combat phase, what are they going to do? Everyone's going to go, D3 mortal wounds? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I think roll the. What is that? Is that a 4-up or 3-up?
For what?
Stomp.
2-up.
2-up for Stomp.
2-up for Stomp.
See, it's a 2-up for Stomp. Why 2-up for
There you go. There you go.
Titanic Duel is.
It has its position. It's +1 to hit another monster. So, most of the time you take it whenever you are the monster who goes second in that combat, and you are going to get roared at.
I think Titanic Duels needs to be fixed.
Okay.
And I know what I want it to do, but I don't know how I would mechanically write it.
Okay. What do you want it to do cinematically, sir?
It's mano a mano. Like, you have to ignore the units around you. You have to fight me.
Okay.
And it also uses the monster's rampage to use that back.
So it forces your opponent to also Titanic Duel you.
Right. So basically it's like you get in there and you can either roar the unit, roar the monster, or make the monster fight you, so then they can't roar you back. So they can still use their command ability, but they're not going to attack the unit, and it's just you guys clapping cheeks.
So here's an idea, because I like the idea, but I also would want the opportunity to ignore your Titanic Duel, but at a detriment to me of some sort. Maybe. I can fight everything but your monster if I ignore your Titanic Duel, and your monster gets +1 to wound coming in at me because I am ignoring you now.
I would say
+1 to hit.
You have like to. The monster has to pass a bravery check.
Okay, there we go. Because monsters never use their dang bravery, so that'd be fun. Yeah.
If you wish to deny the duel, pass a bravery check to be brave enough to say no, and then
yeah,
maybe even do retreat 3 inches.
Maybe.
Ooh, woof. No, that is too much. But yeah.
Nah, that might be one step too far.
Yeah, I would say
we get caught too often, I think, to unable to retreat. So I think just, nope, you do have to focus on me. We are going to have our duel.
Yeah, you can deny it, and then the monster is +1 to wound against you for the rest of the combat round. Yep. Combat phase. Smash the Rebel. I don't know, man. Like,
it has its place against certain opponents, and that's about it.
No, did you read the FAQs?
Oh, how you still get to have the rolls. Now,
so if you go up against the Sylvaneth Wildwood, smash the piss out of it, you know what it does? Nothing. You still get to use them like normal.
Now, if I am playing against Beastmen, however,
that's true.
And I kick over their totem, I'm going to feel real good about myself.
Smash the Rubble should literally be... I forget what it is now. Is that 3-up?
I forget. I want to say it's 3-up, but I could not tell you 100% because I hardly ever use it.
Right. So honestly what it should be is smash up, pick a terrain feature, roll a die. On a 4-up, it loses all special abilities. On a 6, remove it from the battlefield.
Okay, that'd be a fun one.
Boom. Now all of a sudden, who's not going to fucking smash the Rebel?
Right. Yeah, especially if your opponent's hiding behind a wall or something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's, again, overall Monsters Rampage is great. I think these are very... they really went up to bat and just bunted. Or whatever the bunt version is in Cricket.
I'm okay with the bunt because I think the bunt was amazing for monsters. Now, I would love for somebody to give us a 5th where somebody walked up and did Babe Ruth it and pointed to home and said, pointed out to the stands and said, we're going to try. Here we go. Oh, we messed that up completely. Please remove it from the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But like I said, I mean,
I think now's the time to do it too, because monsters aren't in the key position right now.
yeah, and again, like we said in our third edition speculation video,
Yeah,
um, I
forever
said,
ago.
yeah, I said openly at that point, I was like, monsters need to have their points based off their second or third bracket,
Hmm.
and I still
Yeah,
believe that to this day.
yeah.
All right, so we'll move along here. So we got heroic actions.
Yeah.
What do you think of heroic actions?
I think they've been a fun little addition to the game. Uh, Not a huge fan of heroic recovery, personally. The rest of them, I am okay with.
What don't you like about heroic recovery?
Okay, I guess now that you have to be outside of combat,
Yeah,
I'm a little bit more okay with it.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't like the idea that like I've almost got your hero, and then they just heal on me, and I'm just well.
I don't
Here we go
know
again.
the last time that you only did like under like 6 damage to a unit. Like,
Well, some people do that, and then they feel real bad whenever they're like, "Oh, then you got to your hero phase, and my whole gambit to try and kill that hero that failed, like did actual nothing, but
I mean,
got my guy killed."
the simple fact that they have to roll under their leadership or under their bravery, and then it's
Yeah,
also only D3.
I suppose. Yeah,
I don't mind it. Again, I do. I kind of feel like it would have been nice to have one more. I don't know what it would have done,
yeah. I don't know what it would have been either.
but um, I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like there should have been something in here to give a hero strike first.
Okay.
Either bake that into Finest Hour because like I'm largely unimpressed with Finest Hour. I've never Finest Houred and went, phew, thank God I Finest Houred.
See, I don't ever find a hour defensively anymore.
Yeah, makes
Like
sense.
if I know my hero is about to get smashed, finest hour,
Yeah,
so that I can also then hit the button for +1 defense later on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get that. But like I said, I mean, if
Hmm.
there was, I don't know, heroic, I don't know, martial
I
prowess.
don't.
I don't know.
Right. No, I get what you're trying to say.
Let's either bake it into Finest Hour or have it be its own thing. Like I said, just
Hmm.
like, because again, what it really boils down to is like, I'm in combat, I've already Finest Houred. Okay, I
Hmm.
guess I'll try and give someone a command point.
Right.
Like, there's no,
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
I feel like there's no real option. It's like there's one choice and then three things that you can go to situationally.
I agree. Yep.
So it would be nice to have two things that you can go to and, just a couple that are gimmies.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
all
Agreed.
right. So command abilities have
Yeah.
been largely
Huge change.
huge change. Positive?
I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I I think out of all the things that they've done, I think this is the closest that doesn't. I'm sure I could come up with a couple things that need to be
Fixed. Yeah.
sanded,
There we go. Better
um,
word.
but I think on a curve, this would be the first thing that would need no changes.
Okay.
So I love the fact that unit champions can issue command abilities to their own unit.
Yep.
Um,
Agreed.
I don't know. Like my thing is like I kind of wish it was a little bit rarer to have champions then, or like
Okay. I can see what you're saying.
yeah. I think it's awesome, but I think it's a little too widespread.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, I think the elite keyword should be used more than the unit champions bit being
Yeah,
able to do stuff. I think that would work out a little bit better because I'd be okay with my battle line units needing my heroes and generals around.
that's actually
But
kind of
then
what I was
my
thinking as well.
couple of, yeah, like my sharks, yeah, they can go off on their own and fight because they're elite.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the elite is an underused term and underused role.
Yep.
I think heroes having a 12-inch bubble is awesome. I think generals and totems having an 18-inch bubble is awesome.
Love that the battle standard bearer can actually help out. Yep.
I have no problem with the amount of command points. I think that's fine. I think
it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
I've had no problems with that. It's like it's one of those things where you have to be smart about it. The only thing, and it's funny, it's like I can argue both ways on this. I kind of feel like you should only be able to have like each command ability used once per turn.
Ooh, okay.
Or have something where like you have one like unit use and one hero use. So like but again at the same time I would want to limit that on Battle Shock. But I wouldn't have because I see there like, so think about your Lumineth Wardens. You just got 10 dudes and dudettes sitting there, and they're like, and their sergeant is like, guys, all out defense, put shield up, and then like, I get the balance of not wanting more things to be like have your entire army do that, but at the same time, like if Teclis comes and tells another unit, you guys also put your shield up, which I guess Lumineth is the wrong.
No, it's not the best choice, but I understand what you're going for.
But it's like it feels like that, like the general or a totem should be able to like overcome that. Like once per turn or something. I don't know.
Even if it's a once per battle to get the second, like I'd be fine with the smallest tweak on that, so that you could get one turn of 2 units doing all out defense.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that attempt.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say like cannot be used on Battle Shock.
Agreed. That just is an asterisk in there. Like can't use it here.
Right. I mean, I would be fine with it just being all out attack or all out defense. But I wouldn't mind it being on redeploy or unleash hell.
Yeah, I don't see that being devastating to have it on those two.
Yeah. So real quick, so since we'll go over them here real quick.
Yeah.
Rally. What are your thoughts on Rally?
Rally is an interesting one. I thought it was kind of cool at the beginning, and if you're just kind of sitting on extra CP, why the heck not Rally?
Yeah.
Some units now being Rally on a 4-up is starting to scare me a little bit.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
I think that if you're rolling for a horde, it should not be on a 4-up. Like, dang. I don't know. It just seems too much to me, personally.
I'm gonna throw an idea out without fully parsing it. I want to know what you think.
Okay.
What if Rally was one less than the unit's armor save?
So you have to roll one less than what the unit's armor save is. So if you're a 3-up armor save, I need to roll a 4-up. I don't like it because now all of my horde units don't get anybody. And my big super elite strong units, if you leave them at one dude, you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
But let's just imagine something that you would never actually take. A 9 block of Annihilators. And you leave them at one dude, and you're like, dang, I did it. And then I bring 4 of them back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Nope, you're going to cuss me out. You are going to cuss me out.
Like I said, I think Rally is an interesting...
It's a cool idea. I think it should only be units or models that fled to Battle Shock the previous round. I don't like this idea of Johnny, who got stabbed, is feeling better now and got up.
Yeah, I think if you made it easier for models to come back, because like right now, honestly, I think the 6-up is so hit or miss. There have been games.
Yes, depends on your army.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there's been times where like I've had a unit of half strength Vindictors the entire fucking game, and every hero phase, rally nothing, rally nothing, rally nothing. Like
right. Fair enough.
But yeah, like you said, and like I think we've both said this in the past, like again, like looking at Stormcast alone, they fucking explode when they die.
Right.
How
he's not coming back. Right. He's not coming back.
Duke, he's ether. Like he's
right. He ain't here no more.
The black powder is still on the air. Like
he's currently being reforged, hopefully.
Unless, of course, Sigmar is literally sitting there going, oh, Hank, you're up.
Yeah, really.
He rolled a 6. Get down there. But I wasn't
He's just
even
hanging out there like Zeus and starts chucking Stormcast down from the sky.
Right. I mean, it's like, I absolutely agree. It should be an easy way to keep track of. And again, I wouldn't have a problem if you just kept track of what ran away. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the next round because, you know, But
right.
Again, letting things actually flee. Like, now all of a sudden it's not that big of a deal if something flees because you can spend a command point to try and rally something back. Like,
right. Oh boy, I lost 20 dudes in my Horde unit. But now, because it was during Battle Shock, some of them might think about it and come back to me.
Right.
I think that would be a fun idea.
Yeah, I definitely like that a lot better because, again, you can rally someone who's fleeing and running away. You can't rally someone without a pulse.
Right.
Unless you're a death army.
Right. He's missing his head. It doesn't matter how encouraging I am.
Now I can see. Now I see the Monty Python parrot skit as just someone trying to roll a rally check.
There we go.
At the double, I can't imagine not having at the double.
Yeah. I think that it's better now that you do it before you roll the dice rather than after, because if you want it, you better want it. Not, I'll see if I get the. Nope, that's a 1. Never mind. There's a CP.
Yeah.
Now it's a. Okay, I have to have it, so I have to spend the CP.
Yeah, I like it. It's fine. Yeah, that's
agreed.
I think it's a good
great choice. So hit or miss. Hit or miss.
I think
when it hits good. When it misses, boy, does it miss big.
I think D6 is pointless. Because 1, 2, and 3 does nothing.
Yep.
3 does something every once in a while, but like,
right.
If it was 2D3, okay.
Change your averages. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
All right. I'm probably not going to get a 6, but I'm probably not going to get a 2. Like
Now, whenever I was playing Dom Hain in my Deepkin, every time you spent the redeploy, you just automatically pick 3 units within range to do it.
Wow.
I think I would feel a little bit better if that was just universal. I think it would work a little bit better because then you could act. It is. And the problem is it's during your opponent's turn, so we're further slowing down the game.
Yeah.
But it could give you a way to actually, like, someone's called out and the whole army is taking a quick position, something like that. But it might not work just practically on the game table.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, I think redeploy is the one command ability, more so than any of the others, that if done properly with a half decent roll at the right time, can completely shut down your opponent's abilities, or not abilities, but like
you can shut down it. Right, you shut down an entire charge. They were like, okay, you're at 12, but I've got all these bonuses to make this charge, so I will definitely make it. Okay, even though it would be like an 8-inch charge, then you roll the 5, and you back up. It's like, well, crap. Now I'm not even allowed to try.
Yeah, and even then, like, there's been times where I brought prosecutors, and which, boy, if there's a unit that should have like some modifier to their redeploy, like. But anyway, so someone was going after my Relictor, and I planned on them doing it because it was an orc player. And I'm like, of course they're going to go after the squishy hero.
Of course.
Redeploy, got the 6, got all 3 prosecutors in right before they got the charge, and they're like, well, shit.
Now I don't want to make that charge. Yeah.
I don't want to charge stupid prosecutors.
Yeah. I've also done it in a dirty way where I've kind of felt bad, where an opponent has gone, okay, I just have to tow 2 guys in over here, and then I take the objective from you, right?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Well,
they tow 2 guys in, I redeploy, and now I have 3 guys in. Oh, yeah, cool. Good job, man.
Well, I did that with Tyler with our last game, but I did it with a Mega Gargant.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was like, what? And I was like, redeploy. It's like, what's redeploy? Yeah. I was like, don't you read your... Oh, yes, OBR. You don't play like normal game.
Right, right.
Yeah, so I'm just going to move over here and take this objective. Thank you.
Yep.
Forward to Victory, again, is another one that
yep.
I couldn't imagine a world without.
Yep, you have to have it.
Unleash Hell.
I could do with or without it, personally. There are times it's really good. I have had really good Unleash Hells with my Reavers and killed, like, out of a unit of 6 pigs from Iron Jaws. I've legitimately killed 3 of 6 on their charge in, and I felt great.
I wouldn't mind... I have no problem with it being on a model-to-model basis as opposed to the unit.
Agreed.
Because again, they're all the alternative of a unit wholly within 9 or whatever the hell it is.
Right.
But did they shorten it to 6 inches? Is that what I'm remembering?
Yep. 6 inches now.
That's not enough. That's too.
You don't think that's enough? That's too big.
I think it should maybe be 8 inches.
Oh, okay. Okay, you think we've gone too short at 6 inches?
Because again, like, here's the thing: is like in the game, most shooting is 4s and 3s.
Yep.
Or there's a 4 in the mix.
There is a 4 somewhere on the unmodified scale.
And I'm already taking a -1 to hit.
Yep.
So, now again, if someone's actually still listening at this point, I'm fully aware that there is elite shooting. I'm fully aware that there's things that are going to be really good. But at the same time, these elite shooters are typically in a unit of 3 to 6. So they're already all in anyways.
Right.
I'm thinking more along the lines of like the 20 block of Arcanauts.
Right. So I was actually thinking if I were to up it, I would just do 9 inches so that we all have the same measuring stick that we're already using for our deep strikes and just make it a universal distance and make life easier on players.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, man.
Yeah.
I was saying 8 because I figured you'd fight me on it.
No, I'm perfectly fine with going to 9.
All out attack, all out defense.
Cornerstones of the game now. Yeah. Don't know how to live life without them in this current edition.
I will say that I wouldn't mind all out attack being +1 to hit or +1 to wound.
Okay. But still only used once per phase?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just because, like, I feel like... Because one of the issues is there's only, again, the top armies have +1
to hit. Or wound, yeah.
Right, like, everyone has +1 to hit.
Right.
Only only the armies that don't need it have +1 to wound.
I hear you.
And then, of course, Inspiring Presence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Should be there.
All right. So moving along to big changes.
Yeah.
So we got rid of realm rules and realm artifacts.
A little sad about that.
I mean, we did get universal
realm
enhancements.
Yep.
And I think that does satiate the realm artifacts.
Agreed.
The realm rules, though, like that.
I think I would feel better about the realm rules if, whenever this newest General's Handbook came out, we weren't still in Gur.
Yes. Well, honestly, I think what would be interesting, what would be more interesting, is if there was just some super like chill realm rule for all the different realms.
Mm-hmm.
You
One
know,
that really didn't make a big difference.
right?
Yeah,
So like, oh, we're in the realm of shadows, -2 to range,
sure.
2 inches
Something
to
that you're
range.
just like, cool.
Right. Stuff like that. Shaman, reduce Ren by 1, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, whatever you want to say.
Right,
But
something.
then, when the General's Handbook comes out, it's not just Gur, it's Galley, it's Thondia,
Right. Yeah.
and that's where we get our in-depth rules. And so that's where they encourage the tournaments to be. That's where they're going to
Right.
run their tournaments. And so then that way it's like, you know, we the era has a
Mm-hmm.
feel, but you are
Right.
not railroaded into whatever dumb
Which
thing
would be
you
great for all the narrative players who want to play somewhere else right now.
want. Right.
Right? I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, that's they want to find out who owns uh, the realm of fire or whatever,
Right. Right.
and they don't have those rules right now.
What do you think of the new board size?
I kind of like it personally. I like how I didn't have a dedicated board in my apartment
Yeah.
for Age Signar. This is barely larger than my kitchen table, and so I can just be like, so hey, we have 1 more inch on these sides, on each side, than what you currently have, so we can play.
Yeah. I've been advocating smaller table size since I started playing.
Yeah. Yep.
So bully all
Not.
around.
Yep.
Battalions.
This is something that I think that I enjoyed at the start. I still enjoy them. I think we need to get the ones out of our personal books and just get rid of those. I just have the universal ones that anyone can take.
Yeah, I again, to me this rings as so blasé.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no creativity to it. There's no inspiration to it.
Okay.
And like the battalions from the old battle tomes. Again, this we there's a two-prong. There's an if then.
No, no.
If,
Yeah, I get what you're
not
about
an
to
if
say
then, but
here.
like an
Go
if
for it.
but. Like
Yes, yes.
the old battle tome or the old battalions from the battle tomes gave your army so much flavor.
Agreed.
But
Yes, but
GW can't write tight, consistent.
there were definitely haves and have-nots.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, like, what's funny is by doing this, by getting rid of the battalions, you've
Mm-hmm.
just made, as opposed to like just making everyone halves or making everyone have nots, you just shifted it. Because there were, I mean, I can at least think of Fire Slayers that depended on their battalions like a crutch
Right,
in
right,
order to be able to be on the table. And then you didn't do anything. You're like,
right,
welcome to the bottom tables, ass. Like,
right.
and so like, if you're gonna do that, then you have to remember that you have X number of armies.
Right.
You can't just
That
go,
need.
yeah, it's good for most of them. Like,
Right. Or it's one of those things where, because the way GW works, you say, all right, these armies are going to suffer. But whenever their book comes around, they will not need those battalions anymore.
right, exactly.
That battalion that kept them up is also written into a war scroll now,
Right.
like somewhere.
And they have absolutely not done that in any circumstance.
I hear you.
It's like, oh, did you suffer because you lost something? Just get used to it. Enhancements. I like it. I think it's an interesting. I like that it's not. they kind of this is like an area where they kind of let the chains go a little bit, and they're just like, hey man, you want an enhancement? Go pick it. What do I get? Can I pick a spell? You wizard? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, man. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
um, I wouldn't mind a little more selection, or I wouldn't mind having some like one or two additional selections based on the General's Handbook.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Just as a personal gripe, because I play one of the few armies that have creatures that have multiple uh, mount traits. So my turtle has one, and my deep mares have one.
Yeah,
I'd like to be able to take one for a deep mare and one for a turtle without having to take extra. But just like if I have two turtles, still only one for a turtle.
yeah, absolutely.
But that's the only gripe I have.
Mount
but that's
traits,
it.
like 2 weeks after the book came out, it should have been FAQ'd. Mount traits are an enhancement.
Right.
Why that isn't, I don't know.
That's okay.
But like, imagine like during the first General's Handbook, there was amulet of, I don't know, what was his name? What's his name? Kragnos. Kragnos's mane or something like that. And if you give it to a hero, they count as a monster. Don't have to worry about the spell; they just count as a monster.
That could have been fun.
Yeah, like nothing groundbreaking, nothing like oh my god, like just there. Look, we gave you a little something extra to lean into the narrative of the General's Handbook.
Are you an army without a monster?
Right.
Well, do I have a deal for you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, like it would be nice to like imagine. Okay, this one's too powerful, but imagine a world where your general, like this, like I don't know, general only or whatever. I don't care. I don't care what limitation we put on it, but all Galician veterans within 12 inches of, wholly within 12 inches of this, the hero with this item, are immune to the effects of bounty hunter battalions.
Oh boy. Oh. Something along those lines, sure, but
tell me.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, that would be an Amulet of Destiny situation where that gets taken everywhere. Because
again, though, based on the current thing, like right now, from what I can tell, the trend is to not bring Galician veterans.
Or yeah, I mean, and if you have to, because some people have to,
right,
and some of our battle tactics kind of require it,
right.
So then you can punish those,
right?
So
right,
yeah, I'd be okay with it. Yeah.
And then of course we also got a small endless spell rework.
Yeah.
Which I am 100% on board for, and that's how I thought they worked originally.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with endless spell reworks. Endless Sun is good. Again, it's fun.
I mean, you could probably tone it down a little bit.
You could. It, yeah.
Or raise its point. I don't know what to do with it, man. I don't know.
Probably raise its points at this point. Yeah, I'm probably painting one up to get down to Nashcon. So anyway,
you put googly eyes on it.
No, I'm not going to put googly eyes on it. I also have to build and pay another Eidolon so that I can take that to Nashcon. So I don't have time for googly eyes.
All right, so effects on match play. I broke this down on the 3 different tiers of players. Effects on new players. And this is all my opinion here.
Yeah.
Cole, you can tell me where I'm wrong. For new players, grand strategy battle tactics are, from concept, very difficult for new players to grasp. And the General's Handbook exacerbates the problems even further by changing up, apparently now every 6 months.
Right.
Good?
Yes, whenever I teach a new player, we don't use grand strategies battle tactics. Those go away for the first 3 to 5 games.
Right. That's
have to tell a new player you need a new General's Handbook every 6 months. Oof.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's yeah. Moving along. The
Yeah.
top tier armies are playing a different game from the mid and bottom tier armies. Bottom tier armies really have no chance. I.e., play the models you like the look of is dead officially. If you hear anyone say just play what you like the look of, walk over. You are obligated to walk over and slap them in the face, and then point the people that they were talking to over to Daughters of Cain. Then move on. That's and that's why I say right below it is new players will pick armies that they like the aesthetics of, get walloped, and go find a new game.
Okay.
Because again, like honestly, this to a lesser extent is what happened to me whenever I first started playing Warhammer 40k.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kept asking people what makes a good Space Marine army. And everyone said, just take whatever you like or bring one of each. It doesn't matter. Just have fun. And so I spent like 4 months
Right.
putting an army together. I didn't like tanks, so I did all people on foot. And then I went out and played, and I realized that I had made the worst army humanly possible, and I couldn't even play the game. And so I'm like, well, this game is stupid, and I put it down for years.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, I mean, I can't tell you how many people like came into the store prior to the new Battle Tome and went like, "Oh man, you can play as tree people in this game."
Right.
Oh yeah, here.
Yeah.
Sure. Buy 120 dryads. Buy yourself 9 boxes of trees and go have fun. That's
yeah.
And then, of course, the last thing, like I've said before, while better in the long run, the new rules organization is intimidating to new players.
Agree with that.
So,
to go back to the middle bullet point, I think from a new player standpoint, that middle bullet point that top tier armies are playing a different game is correct. We do have players in this community who make that statement incorrect, but not everybody. That is definitely a minority of people. And I agree, though, from a new player standpoint, if somebody says, I would like to do well at this game, I would steer them towards top tier army. I would not say, play what you like.
Right.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
I think there are people who can grab a bottom tier army and make the rest of us look like fools.
Right.
But you're not going to do that whenever you're fresh off the street.
Right. And honestly, like, I might even steer people, new players, away from top tier armies. Because like I said, I mean, this could be my opinion. If you want to debate me, it's fine. You're wrong, but it's fine. Literally, the armies on the top are playing a entirely separate game. They're playing a different AOS that has different rules. And then the mid and bottom tier are playing the same game. Bottom tier just doesn't have the rules to back the gameplay. Right. I would point someone to one of the higher mid armies, like
something in the fat middle is a good spot to be.
Yeah, like I'd play something like, again, the issue is like without it being the current GHB, I would say sure, start off as Stormcast. What do you want to do? You want to do a lot of melee? You want to do a lot of shooting? What do you want to do? You want to do movement?
Right. We can make something. Yeah.
Right. Play orcs. Like it's
right.
But yeah, like I said, as of right now, without having a mentor, this is terrible time to get involved with AOS. Like,
fair enough.
Again, like if you have someone showing you the ropes, it's fine. They'll show you how to add in things gradually. But like, try to dive in both feet right now. No, just hold off.
Yeah.
And here we go. So we have effects on average player. Gameplay is slower. At least initially. I think it's getting a little bit faster, but
yeah.
I don't remember the last time I made it to round 5 in a tournament.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we're still getting we're getting 2/4, like we're getting far enough into the 4th round that we can determine what's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely more bookkeeping.
Yep.
And the rules of the battle tomes themselves are putting a wedge between that top tier and everyone else.
Yeah, I think there are
Now
people who understand how like battle tactics are played,
right,
and those people will always be above everyone else and things like that. I
and
agree.
so let me qualify my statement here because I put
Mm-hmm.
regardless of skill, and I should have put an asterisk on that. So again, like we've joked around before, a half joked is if we give Bill Souza nothing but demonettes and
Stick of bubble gum. Yeah.
stick a bubblegum, he's going to figure out a way to go 4-1.
Right.
But like, let's say to be a little bit more on the even, you
Mm-hmm.
take your army and Bill or Roger just theory craft this silver bullet of a list. Not
Right.
necessarily against Idneth, but just this
But
like,
just I'm gonna crush this tournament. Yes.
and they give me that army and they give me an AOS reminder sheet.
Right.
I'm probably going to win.
It's possible. Look, I'm not someone who wants to put myself down and think I can't beat certain lists, but I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Your percentage chance got a lot higher.
Right. As
Very
opposed
quickly.
to like, hey,
Right.
I've now been playing Stormcast for a year and a half and have dedicated myself to figuring out how the army plays.
Right.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have effects on top tier player, increase winning percentage. That's
Right. Yeah. If you know what you're doing, you're going to continue to know what you're doing.
third edition. I think
yeah.
that's what they should call it. The third edition, the rich get richer. That's
Yeah. No, the good players kept doing well. The mid players, I feel like, got pushed down a little bit.
yeah. Mid got pushed down, bottom got pushed down, new got pushed out.
Yeah.
Effects on narrative play. Path of Glory gives players a direction to start with their narrative. Awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of new rules basically just need to be thrown out.
Yeah, for narrative play, most of them
Um,
do get thrown out.
Now, with that, I also went up with the next one. However, most narrative players make up their own rules anyways, so they are largely unaffected, except for rules written in the new battle tomes, which has been feast or famine.
Right. Honestly, think that most narrative players probably don't use battle tactics or
Yeah, I agree.
or grand strategies. They just kind of go,
Yep,
that's
throw it
cool. I only buy the general's handbook so I can grab the points out of it, if that, and that's about it. Yeah.
Right, right. So yeah, exactly it. I mean, it's like they throw out most things. Path of Glory's there, so that gives them something to sink their teeth into, something where they can jump off of. Same thing with Conquest Unbound. Like I said,
I honestly think that's probably the majority of the community are your kitchen table players who are probably playing like this.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And so I would say, like, from a narrative perspective, I think the only real thing that affects them, you have the Path of Glory that affects them positively, and then, like I said, the inconsistencies with battle tomes is the other part where it's like you have some armies where you can't.
Right. That it might hurt
can't
if
find a bad choice.
Right. In the group that plays narratively and for fun, one guy grabs the Sylvaneth book and the other guy grabs the Daughter's book. And
Right.
neither of them, they're both about the same skill, which is new. There's probably going to be some bad feelings between the two by the end of it.
Oh, wow, you brought a bunch of Medusa ladies with bows? Yeah, they sounded pretty cool.
Smack. Yeah.
All right, so we're here. We'll wrap up here on my final thoughts. Overly complicated.
I just noticed your final thoughts was 2 whole slides.
Two slides of final thoughts. So
a warning
overly
to
complicated. It's way too more complicated than it needs to be. There's definitely a way that we can slim it back down. Of course, this seems to be the way that GW does stuff. They pack on and pack on and pack on and pack on to the point where people scream about the bloat, and then they pare it down back to 4 pages. So hopefully we get a parent. I don't know what. Like, we'll see. Poor foresight, for short term and long term. This is what I'm referring to this as. This is not necessarily for the rules of third edition. This is basically... so if you look at Lumineth is one of the last battle tomes to come out prior to 3rd edition. And that book reads like they had no idea 3rd edition was coming out.
Yep.
And same thing with, like, Stormcast. Stormcast came out like they had no idea that they were going to be doing Galician veterans. You know, it's the same thing, like, then we had... It's like they have no idea... Whatever project they're working on right now, they completely forget about it whenever they start the next project.
Right.
And again, like I said, with the GHB, I feel like they grossly overlooked probably 30% of their armies that don't see top table play. Let me say that. 30% of the armies, of which are the ones that typically don't see top table play.
Yeah, I think armies that didn't have a battle tome being worked on at that time were not thought of. I think it's the safest way of putting it.
Right. Overall, poor balance. Perfect balance is impossible, but in a perfect world, the worst army should have at least some chance of beating the top army, which, no. Not only do we have the bottom army can't beat the top army, I would say the bottom tier armies cannot beat a top tier army. At least not without some severe luck.
Right.
As we stated before, it's very limiting. Don't limit stacking in general rules. Limit access to stacking in individual battle tomes. Free up things. I don't care if you figured out a way to put to spend an extra 200 points to give your Rat Clan +2 hit once per game.
Right.
Re-rolling does not slow down the game as much as they claim. It's not that big of a deal.
I have to agree with that statement there. Yep.
Again, so for that, the edition... Well, the entirety of the game, we chose this game to use D6s. So the entire game revolves around 1 to 6. And then we're also going, hey, you can't do more than +1.
Right.
Okay, so I can only do +1. I can't re-roll anymore. You don't have that much space to play in. There's nothing wrong with re-rolling ones to hit, re-rolling ones to wound. The problem is whenever you were giving units... re-roll all failed hits, all failed wounds, and all failed saves, and all failed ward saves.
Yeah. No, I think a big one was at the end of second, we were a lot of 2s and 2s re-rolling 1s.
Right. And that was too
much. That was too much. Yeah.
And then I'll say while the rule set wasn't as tight, 2nd edition was easier to have fun with.
Yeah, I agree. I think I enjoyed myself more.
Here's the lightning bolt statement that, if anyone's listening, will be very upset.
Yeah.
This is the worst edition of Age of Sigmar since points were introduced. Now let me qualify that. There are much worse games out there. However, out of 1st edition, 2nd edition, and 3rd edition, 3rd is the first one where I go, what other war games are there out there?
I don't know. I feel like I disagree with you, and I think that 1st edition in points was worse because it was still so much the Wild West. There was so much that you would trip, walk into the wrong game, and your opponent would be like, so I'll take me for an example. If you were a Stormcast player playing against me in 1st edition, you did not want to play against me because I was playing Khorne Bloodletters who were going to attack you. They were going to hit on 2s, rerolling 1s. Every 2+ was going to be a mortal wound. And I was going to do that for 60 attacks. You were going to not like to play that game.
And yet, I still had more fun. Because
It's
also
fair.
on top of that, I would also say that mortal wounds were rarer, and more armies had more jank ass shit.
I'll give you that. More armies definitely had more jank ass shit going on.
Whereas, like, I feel like going from first to second, they were like, okay, here we
Let's
like,
rein this in. Yeah.
right, we like these armies, so we'll look at these separately. All these other ones, get rid of all the jank ass shit. Like, all right, so moving along. Oof, okay, it is so. Here's the positive one. This is the positive takeaway. It is potentially a step in the right direction, but they need to figure out the proper balance between control and freedom.
Okay.
As I've been talking about how tight everything is, I think it's too tight, and that's actually going to be one of the next points. So, battle tomes need to be at least planned at the same time, and each needs to stay within certain parameters.
Right.
Um,
They might not need to be planned at the same time, but I agree that there should be a set of bullet points that GW says this is the line that will not be crossed,
right.
and there it is. And if your battle tome crosses it, you have to go rework on it again.
Right. And like I said, I mean,
Like,
as long as they came up with so like, let's go with Nurgle. Okay, guys, for this one we want to do disease.
yep.
This is how we're thinking disease is going to work. Whenever you work on your battle tome, keep that in mind.
Right. Right. Okay.
That's what I mean by planned at the same time.
Gotcha.
Not like, oh, hey, what are you doing with Blight Kings over there? Oh, you're doing the Blight Kings? Okay, I'm going to do this with Clan Rats.
Right.
You know?
I understand better now. Yeah, I agree with that statement then. Yeah.
And again, this is one thing that has been true and consistent amongst both 40k and AOS since the
Right.
dawn.
This is just a GW problem. Yes.
Because again, like I keep going back to it, Primaris, like literally the second Primaris dropped, they literally fucked every Marine that came out that edition prior to that book because they did not immediately get access to Primaris.
Right.
Yeah. And then, woof. Okay, as the rules get tighter and more restrictive, the lack of understanding in advanced game mechanics become more apparent.
I would like to state that these are all Matt's opinions and none of my own. Thank you. You can continue, buddy.
All right. So now that I scrambled your gimblies, so game theory, game mechanics, game balance, all these things are very difficult and very advanced mechanics. It's concepts and theories. Like it is. I mean, and it's like everyone tries to do it a different way. Like going back to second edition Dungeons and Dragons. Wizards at level 1 would roll a d4 to see how many hit points they got and could cast Magic Missile once a day if they were lucky.
Right.
By the end of the game, if you were able to survive, you could then essentially kill the gods.
Right.
In 4th edition of Dungeons and Dragons, they went, okay, we want everyone, all damage dealing classes, to be doing this damage by this level.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can be done in different ways. And I feel like I feel like as opposed to having an academic level of knowledge and study in the field, they are very intuitive and they have a very natural knack at that sort of thing.
Okay.
Because some of the stuff that they do does remind me of, like, say, stuff that, like, rules that I would write for my own stuff before playtesting it.
Right.
And then, like, even after playtesting it, like, so, like, I came out with a Death Knight class from World of Warcraft for 4th edition.
Okay.
And it was a little too strong, but I really liked the narrative of certain abilities, so I kept them that way.
Okay.
despite my friends going, "You're creating an infinite loop. Do you know that?" And I was like, "But I just like the ability. Let's just not."
But it's cool.
Let's
Let's
just
just promise not to infinite loop it.
right. And it's like you can't do that. Whenever you are in a company making, I believe they made $160 million last year.
A decent chunk of change. Yeah.
The expectations are now higher.
Yeah.
There's no reason that you can't bring in someone that understands these mechanics and these concepts, because there's other companies that are doing it, and again, it's easy to point at video games, and like you said, they can't keep up with video games, and I don't expect them to.
Right. No.
However, from the drawing board phase, video games, role-playing games, board games already have these concepts in mind, and they build off of them.
Right. Okay.
And GW doesn't. Like, you can see, like, so again, not to pick on you, not to pick on your army, but the tides.
Not a problem, buddy. Not a
But the
problem.
tides. You yourself have said the tides are a little.
They're a problem. Yeah. That it is a reason why earlier in this video I said, when I walk up to my opponent, I ask if they have played Deepkin before.
Right.
Because if I do not make sure my opponent is fully aware of what is about to happen, I will have a negative play experience myself, because I will feel like I've gotten something over on somebody. And I don't want that to happen.
Right.
I should not need to do that.
Well, again, I don't know if you were watching. Did you watch any speculation videos for IDK before the new Battle Tome?
I did not, because I was very afraid that it was just going to be flat out spoilers.
Do you know what every single one that I watched said?
Get rid of tides.
Not get rid of. I wonder what they're going to do with tides.
That's fair, because what it was copy paste, but I think we could have done more with it than copy paste.
So that again, the paraphrase of what are they going to do with tides
was, this needs to be changed.
Right. Yeah. It shows, like, that shows so many depths. So it shows that everyone's on the same page, that everyone thinks that it's a cool concept, it needs to stay, but the way it is right now, it doesn't work, and it's not. It's not
doing what it.
Right. It's nobody wants to sit down at the table and feel like a jerk.
Right.
Like,
I don't want to.
I know that there's times where you have slaughtered people because they didn't prepare for round 3.
Right.
And you felt so bad about it.
Yes.
But you love the playstyle outside of that ability.
Yeah, I just like the movement.
Right.
More than anything. Yeah.
So it's like the people playing the army don't want to feel that way, and the people playing against it don't want to feel that way.
No.
But because they were like, no, tides, it is their core identity. We refuse to change it.
Right.
That is a prime example of what this specific bullet point is talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of ways you could change tides. Personally, I would have just gone, cool, on round 3, you get the Lumineth Realm Lords pick 2, and then you get to still kind of feel like you're doing that whole deal. Done.
Or even if it was just everything that charges.
Yeah, that'd be good. Because right now on the defensive, whenever someone charges me, and then they go, oh.
Yeah.
Because they realize they're about to get smacked first.
Do you want to be devil's advocate and go and say why this is incorrect?
Why we have a very... Jeez, it's hard to, though, is the problem. Like...
So basically what you're saying is, I really like everyone at GW, and I'm sure they're all great people, and I wish I could say this is wrong, but I can't find any evidence to say otherwise.
Yeah, I think half the problem... here's the problem, is that we all know that the people writing these rules, it feels like they're our favorite armies. And those get different rules because, well, we get to write the game, and these mechanics don't have to be fully balanced, and two books can be written at the same time, released the same day, and we all sit there and go, these guys really cared about this army.
Right.
These guys over here, they spit it out and hit the deadline.
Right.
Good for them. Like, I don't want to be that asshole, but yeah, no, I am.
These guys crafted an army. These guys
Right.
got their assignment done.
Right. These guys got their paycheck.
Right. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I think honestly, what they need to do is they need to figure out. So, like, did you ever play World of Warcraft?
I did not. That was a little bit before my time. Whenever that was big.
Almighty.
I know.
So, the classes were constantly rebalanced and reworked all the time, and so they literally had in the development team essentially class advocates.
Okay.
And again, it's not a perfect system because some people are better at their job than others and whatnot.
Yeah, always will be. Yeah.
It made sure that you had someone that loved the class that was fighting for it.
Right.
So, like, they're trying to make the class as OP as they can, whereas the rest of the team is trying to, like...
It's trying to pull on the reins on them.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what these guys really need. Like, they need someone that goes like, oh, man, IDK's the best fucking mind elves that don't have eyes and souls. And, like guys,
right.
They're still coming at them.
Dude.
They still smell like dead fish. All right? You got it?
Right. Yeah.
So again,
sitting there going, corn should be the shit. They're mindless barbarians. Relax.
Right. But yeah, so again, I don't think we're ever going to get that one changed. This has been, again, a core problem since the dawn of time.
Yeah, I think going back to having a good editor with a good understanding of rules would honestly, like, if you got one senior person from another company with like 25 years experience, plop them in GW and let them start disseminating their knowledge on down.
Yeah, and
in the next 3 to 5, in the next 3 to 5 years, we would all sit here and go, "My word, what happened in GW? This magical place!" Like,
right. All right, so moving along here, so we're almost done here. So we have a very poor response to severe imbalance. Battle scrolls are late. They typically cause more problems, don't solve the initial problems, and are confusing. And by and are confusing...
Here's a fun example I can give you recently.
Yes.
Had a nice little FAQ dealing with Deepkin and Flaming Weapon and our king. FAQ came out saying, well, before the Deepkin one came out, FAQ came out saying if your damage is modified at point A, if later on it is modified at point B, you only use point B. Do not add point A as well. So, in the case of a king with Flaming Weapon on the charge, turn off Flaming Weapon. His polearm goes from damage 2 to damage 3. When he charges, the rule says change the damage from damage 2 to damage 3. Flaming Weapon does not add and make that a damage 4. That has been further corrected since, because everyone in the community went, this interacts with a lot of other things and you don't realize it.
Right.
So that has been fixed now.
Yeah. So why put and are confusing?
Mm-hmm.
Where did they tell us that the Predator and was it Prime Target?
Yeah.
Where did they tell us
Prime Hunter?
Where did they tell us the Predator and Prime Hunter went away?
No idea. It just went away one day. It wasn't on the site.
I was using it, and someone in a shop told me we don't use it anymore.
Right. Yeah, whenever we swap General's Handbooks, we apparently just erased it. Yeah.
Is that all the time, or is that just this time?
Right. That's fair.
Again, these need to be communication. They got better at it, then they got worse at it, and then I think they're still on the decline from the heyday of like when Rob was part of the Warcom team.
Okay.
God, do you remember how much fun it was when the new CEO came in and they're like, "Hey, let's actually talk to people. Let's not take ourselves too seriously." Like
that was such a weird time because GW was this silent monolith for so many years.
Yeah, I mean,
and then there was a face. We all went, "Who the hell is that guy, and why is he coming over here?"
I mean, it was like they really did a lot in that small time period to like
They
try
really
and
did.
make amends, make things better, put recourse correct, and then they put all the changes into place immediately, and then just like took their hands off.
And, like, yeah, it does feel a lot more difficult for the average player to be heard right now.
And things just kind of like go in random directions, and there's just constant slow deterioration, and it's like, guys, why keep in there? Like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like the Adam and Eddie that do the preview shows,
right? Cool guys.
I've met them both in real life. They are both phenomenal people. I love them to death, but they don't have that energy that the younger crew and had of like Rob and I forget who his buddy was.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you right now.
And like, but yeah, I mean, it was just like that crew there that was on camera all the time, making videos, putting out videos, actually interacting with people. It was phenomenal, and you could tell there was this vibrancy that was like being breathed into the company.
Yeah.
And now it's like I feel like they're just riding off of those coattails more than continuing the trend.
Right.
But yeah, so second to last point here, this is not a good time to be a new player. Hopefully you can start after Christmas.
Yeah.
And then again, of course, the most damning
piece. Jeez. How could they?
No good dwarf battle tomes.
We just need good old vanilla dwarves to be good.
Grug needs reclaimers.
There we are.
Put them in. Give me Grugny. Give giant ass model. Be the first 300 mil base.
You just want a statue of a life size Grugny. I'd be like, there we go.
If I have a dolly to bring in my Grugny, that's
that's okay. Matt'll figure it out.
No, that last one is that last one's for humor.
That's okay.
All right, so we are now at a typical incredibly long episode.
Yeah.
And we got one last segment. That's why we started early.
Hot dang.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we are going to do tier lists. That's right. We're going to put a tier list of all of the 3rd edition releases.
Okay.
So, this is not going to be, because we have the General's Handbook, General Handbooks, and the Thondia book, this is obviously not going to be competitive. It is going to be how the book is faring now. Okay. So, like, say, you might think Daughters is overtuned, but well written, so you take it out of S and put it in A or B. Okay. Just trying to qualify it, like the Stormcast book.
Okay.
Boy, that's actually really hard. Okay, you know what? Let's start it off. Where would you knee-jerk reaction put Stormcast?
I would put Stormcast in A.
In A?
I wanted to say A. I want to put them in an A tier army. They're well written, very balanced book, especially internally, I feel. The problem is everything else around them. I don't think it's the fault of that book itself.
So I was thinking C.
Okay.
And here's why. So again, peering back to my short-term lack of foresight, this was supposed to be a highly defensive, highly elite army. But 2 wounds and a 3-up save, a defensive army doth not make in this edition.
No.
And they should have known that. And again, they were obviously working on Nurgle around the same time. So they knew what defense was coming out.
Right.
So you have, so in my opinion, so basically looking at everything, so you have, say, you have all of Warrior Brotherhood, all of Sacrosanct, all of basically everything except for dragons, all came out with kind of the same defense level that was great at the time, but immediately went to shit.
Okay, yeah.
And then you have dragons that are way too good and have had to been nerfed every time they've looked at rules, whether it's been their rules or not, to get them reined in.
Yep.
So to me, that is... I think if they rewrote it right now, I think, yes, it would be an A. Because I feel like I have a feeling they would probably have a universal 6-up or 5-up ward.
Instead of exploding, maybe.
I mean, honestly, exploding is okay.
I agree. It's just okay.
I
would rather give them a universal 5-up or 6-up, and then Hammers get the universal 5.
Yeah.
For the okay.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I think they were still trying to find their footing. I think they have a lot of storm hosts, and I think most of them are bad.
Yep. The problem, I don't think they're bad. I think the problem is there's something else in the book that does the exact same thing but better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's a very.
It's just a bloated book in that sense.
If you made a Stormcast army and I made a Stormcast army and we didn't abuse dragons, I think we would have a very fun game.
Yeah.
And I think we would have 2 very different lists.
I agree with that.
So what if we compromise and put it in B?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right. So I had to break the ogre or the orc war clans into 3 books since it is so different.
Fair enough.
Ironjaws.
That is, in my mind, at least an A tier army. Yes. That has the feel I want it to have. This is big, heavy orcs coming in, bashing you and hoping for the best. And it feels like it when you play it.
I would be willing to put this in S tier.
I would not argue with you.
Okay. I think in order to get S, I think we both have to say yes.
I agree.
Because I said, I think the power level is right. I think it
is a top army, but not unbeatable.
Right. I think this is a top tier army if a top tier player
wields it.
Fair enough. I think if I wield it, it's mid tier best. But I get to run forward and I get to yell "wah" and I get to kill things.
And if that's what you wanted, you got everything out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Bone splitters.
All right. So for the feel I expect out of Bone Splitters, I don't like it. However, after having watched Thomas Guan do so well recently at an event, using Bone Splitters, and boy, was that just a fun-looking list. If you like spear, the 2 guys on one giant spear, you like this army. However, I don't think that's the feel this army should have, that I'm just running around with only the big spears. I think it's a C.
Yep, I was going to say the exact same thing. Cruel Boys.
Oh, man. I wanted them to be so damn cool, unique, and good.
Is there any way that these are not a D tier army?
I think that we're going to be in agreement on that, aren't we? Okay.
Think. Nurgle.
I personally think Nurgle did what it set out to do. I think it did it in a bit of a clunky way, but I think the base idea is there. I feel like it's more of a B army just because of how clunky it is, but I could see an argument for an A.
What sort of clunk are you talking
So
about?
just from the disease mechanic right now, if I am someone who walks up for the first time, doesn't know anything about the disease mechanic, or
Yeah.
I'm a new player and I have to keep track of it, boy, is that rough. Now, 10 to 20 games in, you might be so good at taking care of disease mechanic, it's not an issue.
Oh, I'll say like so.
Because I've played against people who they just let me know, hey, there's this many diseases and here's why, and they can rip through it. But I can easily see how, if I've never played that army before,
Yeah,
I'll
I
get halfway through something else and go, oh yeah, that has 3 disease points.
I I have a hard time faulting the book for that because I
Mhm.
think inherently some armies are going to have more
Going
complication
on.
than others. And I
Okay.
think you have to give it. I think there's a
Okay.
difference. I think there is if it's overly complicated for no reason and it's just like I could see if Zinch wasn't Zinch.
Hmm.
Like say if Zinch was a dwarf army,
Right.
I can go like, okay, no, there's no reason.
Right. 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 Okay. Okay.
um, this is another one where I'm actually tempted to put it in S, and here's why.
Okay.
It again, it's a strong book, but it's not an unstoppable book.
Agreed.
If I see Nurgle against across the table, I go, okay, he's not going to take a lot of stuff off. I need to target. I need to make my targets important,
Right.
and I'm taking mortal wounds. And I
Right.
actually, I feel the disease.
Right. You feel the dread that I cannot have a long drawn out game because it will just hurt me more.
And so with that, I think it checks all the same boxes that Iron Jaws
That
checks.
Iron Jaws did for us. Okay. All right.
We okay to
You
put it in
have
S?
convinced me.
Okay.
I'm all right putting it
All
in
right.
S.
All right. So this one's gonna be all you. I have not looked into
Oh
Hyden.
boy. Oh boy. Okay. So I like the idea of what the wave does,
Mm-hmm.
where we want to come in, raid, do what we were supposed to do for raid, and disappear before anybody can ever report on our existence. However, I feel like it can make bad play experiences for people,
Mm-hmm.
and I personally don't think it is a top tier army right now.
Which is okay. Like I said, top
Right.
tier does
That
not
doesn't
mean top
have to
ranked.
be a
You
thing.
know,
Right, right.
um, I I definitely have noticed that it is not. It's not blazing the tables.
No, no, it's not blazing the top tier right now.
So from my outside perspective, the things that I
Hmm.
look at is, I think if you take the narrative and
Hmm.
the core gameplay,
Yep.
you're looking at an A.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
And then you add on some missteps with the war scrolls to get a little bit of internal balance is a little off, and
Hmm.
then again um, lacking a professional touch on the tides. To me,
Hmm.
bumps it down to B.
I can handle that.
Okay. All right. Do we want to worry about the order in the tiers?
Nah.
Okay. Fire Slayers.
You and I are both disappointed by this book. Like, I straight up told you I would do well with the book just to spite you, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
That book bit me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a it's a very poorly written book. It
If
was
you want to run all magma droths, I think you're there. But other than
even
that,
then. I mean, so here's the thing: is like, so I was running. I taught my buddy Pete how to play. We did. I brought Fire Slayers and I threw him together a small 1,000 point Iron Jaws list.
okay.
I knew that he would want to play with the Maw Crusher, so I put the Rune Father on Magma Droth.
Why not?
Um,
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed with that unit.
Yeah.
I'm like, so wait a second. What you're telling me is the most competitive list I have is to bring like 3 of these guys, 4 of these guys? Like, how the hell is that going to do anything? I couldn't take out a unit of 5, or no, a unit of 10 Ard boys.
Oh boy.
Like, and not take out, but like, I couldn't break them. Like, I couldn't do anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say D.
D?
I gotta say D. I don't know how you win with it.
It's a struggle. I agree.
And the way I see it is, it's a poorly written book with poorly written rules that poorly holds up the narrative, and the army doesn't play the way it feels like it should. Except in the ways that are negative, those have been dug in deep.
Gotcha. All right.
Anything I said that you disagree with?
Not after it having turned around and bit me. Nope.
Don't slight coal, battle tomes. I'll tell you right now.
Yep.
All right.
That's it.
Daughters of Cain, the flagship battle tome for this whole channel.
Boy, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we just have to put it S, right? So we can stay on here.
Well, it's way past Chuck's bedtime. He's not going to watch.
Oh, okay. That's fine. He stopped listening hours ago. That's fine.
I personally want to put it in C.
See, I think it's better written than C. But go ahead.
Well, so here's again. So this is
right for the flavor and feel, right? Not just
right. So flavor and feel again. Whenever you talk about the narrative, the lore, how's it supposed to feel, you get that up to the S rank, easy.
Yeah.
But then you have overwritten war scrolls, overly generous allegiance abilities, overly generous artifacts, overly generous spells, spells and prayers, overly generous endless spells, overly generous battle traits or battle tactics and grand strategies. It's like the rules were given as if witch elves were bad and witch elves were your only choice. If you switched out, like if you gave these allegiance abilities and reseeded them properly to Skaven, without changing the Skaven war scrolls, would still be a top tier army.
Yeah, okay. I can't disagree with that.
And then on top of that, where Stormcast had to get penalized for shooting twice in a turn, once per game, you had one of the most over-dominating and most negative play experiences of the Bow Elves in last edition, which they were like, we approve of this play style. It stays.
Yeah. Whenever Marathian the Bow Snakes becomes a T-shirt and then it lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Night Haunt.
So having looked at the army sub and kind of being exciting for it, still haven't started it yet, but I'm sure I will lose that battle eventually. I like where the book went compared to how it used to be, where a bunch of spectral ghosts that move kind of quick because, well, we're not hindered by terrain, and we scare our opponent with Terrify mechanics, and we do our stuff on the charge, because when I come close to you, you get scared about it.
Yep.
A part of me almost wishes it would have played with Battle Shock a little bit more. It does, in that if you're within 3, opponent can't just Inspiring Presence, which is awesome.
Rough.
Yeah. But very good. I think it feels like it does what it should do. I don't know if it doesn't enough.
Yeah, I'm thinking this might be our first A.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's put that in A. Skaven.
So, I don't know all that much about Skaven books, so what we should do is just give Alex a quick call and get him on the horn.
Yeah, at this time of night, I'm sure he's He's asleep doing crunches somewhere. That's
yeah. Asleep doing crunches.
I think I'll just kind of base off of what I've heard from other ones where it's basically it to me sounds like a B tier army. Um, it sounds like they kept the flavor, they kept the feel, but they really didn't do it any favors. But they didn't really hit it.
Right.
So I say we just put it in B to be safe, and we move on.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are very excited about the book because it does new things, but yeah.
Again, I mean, just being playable.
Right. No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that would make everyone excited.
Right, and I think that's what it is. I think it made an army that was previously fell off, put them back in the same room as everyone else.
Fair enough.
All right, so that leaves the last battle tome, Sylvaneth.
So, changes to Wild Woods. Good. The fact that we can just pick other trained pieces and all that. Small army, not quite so good.
Yeah.
We're a very mobile army because we can move around through all these trees, which helps. I want to say it's in the B.
B? Yeah, I'm kind of torn between A and B.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
I think the narrative is really good. I think that it's not a powerhouse army. I think it's going to punish new players, and I think it's going to maybe overly reward veteran players. Of course, that hasn't necessarily been the scene so far. So,
right.
Yeah, I think B is the way to go.
Okay.
Okay. First General's Handbook.
I think First General's Handbook was an A.
I
did what it set out to do. It said, we want to make monsters good, and it did. We all played monsters. We all enjoyed the shit out of it.
All right. And then this one's going to be rougher. The current General's Handbook.
Current General's Handbook, as it sits, with me having about a month personally of experience with it. I want to say, for me, someone who, I'll admit, kind of enjoys rules bloat, things being a little bit more difficult, I'll put it B. Is definitely not as good as last edition. Like, there's not even a world you could put me on that could argue that.
Okay. Yeah, obviously me, I'm going to go straight to D.
Right.
And that's only because there's not an F.
Gotcha.
Because again, like I said, this General's Handbook to me is so bad and so poorly planned that it literally has me going back to play fantasy.
Gotcha. I'll meet you at C. I will.
So I think we'll go C.
Okay.
Knowing that it's actually a D.
Sure, buddy. I'll tell you what. This next book, I might not fight you there on.
Yeah. So, okay. How about this?
Okay.
Can you tell me 2 things about this book?
I cannot. I can only tell you one.
And it's not that good.
I mean, it was see and play, and I don't know if it will continue to all that much. Yeah, no, just the model that you had to go buy an entire terrain set for.
Yeah, $200 terrain set for maybe just $80 worth of terrain.
Right.
Yeah,
and then the one model you actually cared about. Yeah.
So we're going
That's
D?
all that it brought. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, this book made absolutely no splash. It literally did nothing. It introduced the Incarnate, and the Incarnate is overly complicated and is, at the time, way too powerful.
Right. I think its power level is lowered some, but it still is a good model and might see play places.
I don't understand why they introduced it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel conducive to the army or to the game.
Yeah. Just the fact that we made another model in the game that can't die in a single round.
Right.
So strange.
I'm
like that's cool. I don't like just having all my stuff get picked up.
Right.
But like we all figured out Marathi, and yes, we've got her figured out. Unless you're a new player, then you don't. You're gonna hate her. Here's another one.
Right. Yeah, I mean I don't understand why this couldn't have just been an endless spell or an endless endless incantation or whatever, the endless prayer.
Right.
I don't understand why, like.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought it was whenever I first saw the model.
I mean, it could have been interesting if. I think it would have been interesting if you didn't take it in your army list and you and your opponent had to agree that it would start on the table. And someone has to tame it.
Be very interesting. Yeah. It's very narrative.
Hey, narrative guys.
Yeah, there you go. Talk to Matt. He's got ideas for you.
All right. So that is our tier list for
our bottom heavy tier list.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean well, we should have done this for second edition to see how things kind of shaped up there.
Yeah. When this edition finishes, we would need to do this before fourth.
Yeah.
So that we can have this for perpetuity.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, let's say I would say that the D tier is an absolute failure.
Yeah.
I don't think C is an absolute failure. I just think it is. Again, if you guys understood advanced game mechanics, the problems would not exist. Like, this is basically everything in each one of these books are all errors of willing ignorance.
Yeah, I see.
I mean, that sounds harsh.
I think the Bone Splitters one, it was, hey, we don't need to sell any more of these models, so don't spend any time on it.
I mean, in all honesty, to me, it really feels like, shit, Brad did really well. We better fuck the shit out of that army.
Poor guy.
Like, they might not know it's Brad, but
yeah, some guy did well.
Some guy did a butt way too good. We need to fuck that shit up now.
Yeah, we do not want to be making this many of this model.
We do not make enough off of this.
Yeah.
All right. So, where do you sit now with the third edition? Well, I guess we'll finish it out. Well, yeah. Give me your final thoughts, because I think we kind of.
Third edition for me currently, I think it's currently in a worse spot than whenever we first started third. I feel like we did not go in the correct direction. I understand what we did, and I like the idea that we are changing what is good in the meta, or what is the focus of match play right now. However, I think the biggest thing that's scaring me is that I agree, these seem like they were not as well thought out as the first grouping of rules. And that worries me, because now we're going to go cut down to 6 months. So their development time is now less. So more, I guess, is the question, what does December hold? December, January coming up. If it comes out and the next book is better than this current one, I will relax a little bit. If it is on the same portion or worse, I'll be one of the people raising the banner saying, you have to stop this 6 month crap. Yeah. I don't even think we should be here to begin with.
No, absolutely
not. I have paid for a single general's handbook every year, and I don't have a problem with it. If you tell me the moment that I finally feel to the point that I don't have to crack that book open every time I play a game, it's time to get a new one, I'm not happy about it.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, like, honestly, from a perspective that a lot of people aren't going to think of, like, but from like the Nova perspective, because that comes historically
yeah.
came right around when the GBH is going to come out, and we're like, so we all are sitting there on pins and needles, going like, is it going to come out? Do we need to take it into account? Are we going to ignore it? What are we going to do? How, like, if we, everyone's going to want us to take it into account, but at the same time, we don't know what we're going to have to change, and so like, to do that every 6 months is insanity.
Yeah.
Like,
and all those tournaments that never had to think about it,
right
now they're on notice. Like, what, LVO?
Yeah.
Well, will they be changing over?
Because again, the current GBH says 2022 to 2023, so we know that means it's either going, and they said 6 months, so that means either end of January or beginning of February.
Right. Be interesting.
Giving it a GW 6 months.
Right. Until 6 months comes around and they go, oops, we forgot.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, and then on top of that, if this General's Handbook's going to last more than 6 months, I might have to take a bridge. Like, it's...
I hear you.
The Galician veteran thing is probably the worst idea I've ever heard of. And if I was James Workshop and someone came in and said Galician veterans and then followed up with bounty hunters, I'm not only going to fire them, I'm also going to like follow them home and beat them. Like it's such a laughable idea to like, hey, we're currently in a state where we expect the players to do 35 damage every round for 4 rounds reliably to something that has a 4-up save, potentially a 6-up ward. We'd like to introduce more damage.
Right, we would like to double that.
We'd like to introduce more damage specifically to the frailer things in this game. Can we do that? And like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's.
Hey, games go faster if there's less models on the table.
That's true, I guess. And you can't play with models that died. You have to go buy new ones. So.
Oh boy.
Like, holy hell! Like, there's so many things they could have done.
Yeah.
There's so many things they could have done. Like I said, I mean, it could have easily just been. I don't know. I mean, to me personally, I would have done so. I would have bolstered up. And again, let me take a step back.
Right.
I don't necessarily want a horde meta.
Agreed.
I don't have the back for a horde meta. But at the same time, like, I shouldn't not be able to take a. I don't know. Like,
right. You shouldn't be incapable of doing it. Someone should be allowed to if that's what they want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what. It's such an imbalance. It's almost like if someone like in 40K came in and was like, "Hey, everyone gets a free Primarch. That's fine. Like, at top of your regular points, everyone gets a Gulliman. That's fine."
Oh boy.
Just pick one. Mortarion? You want Mortarion? Take Mortarion.
Take
Tau? It's fine. You're Mortarion.
Oh.
And that's in addition to the Mortarion you can already take. Like, it's like,
right. Oh, okay. Okay.
Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know where you come up with this stuff. So, all right. So 1 year in, current freeze frame snapshot. Give your letter grade. What is 3rd edition's report card going to say when it runs home to show mom and dad?
Well, their first half of this semester, they were doing all right, personally. Back whenever we had that last General's Handbook, I think they were an AB student.
Now they started thinking about girls and started squeaking.
Right. The problem is they just turned 16, and mom and dad were nice enough to let them have a car. They're going to hide that report card whenever they get out.
So what are you giving them? You giving?
I'm giving them a C grade. They're passing.
C. Wow, you're generous.
Yeah, they are passing. But boy, if they mess up, they are gonna be screwed.
Solid C or C minus? Or C plus?
No, we're not getting a C plus.
Okay.
I promise you that. We are on a solid C.
Okay.
And if we take our time, buckle down, and study, we can get out of this. We keep hanging out with everybody after school and getting ourselves in trouble, we're going to be in the shit.
For me, it's pretty easy. I'm going to give it a solid D minus. And essentially, like, what it all boils down to is the simple fact of the matter is like, I don't want to participate in tournaments. And I only want to play AOS as a reason to hang out with my friends.
Fair enough.
If they are willing to play another game, I will suggest that first.
Fair enough. Okay.
Because again, for me, like if it was F, it would just be like, what do you want to do? Play AOS?
Right.
You guys go have a good time. Like,
right. You'd still play AOS with me if I asked you to, just to hang out.
Right.
But if I said, what about, Middle Earth? You'd be like, yes. Let's.
Yes. Hell
yes.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Is like, so right now we have Middle Earth. Like every time I see painted Middle Earth stuff, I'm like, oh, I need to paint my stuff. And like every time I see Marvel Crisis Protocol, I'm like, oh, I need to get back to painting that stuff. And like, and then a buddy of mine bought me the dwarf taster box for Conquest. And every time I see those, I'm like, oh man, I need to get that build painted. And like, and then whenever I think about like Sylvaneth, I'm like, oh, I have to get through that army. Like, then I have Soul Blight. Oh, I have to get through that army. Like,
right.
It's there's plenty of time because this is there's a 3-year cycle is typically what we got.
Yeah, typically. Yeah, so we still have another 2 years of this edition, more than likely, unless they've decided that it is actually going to shit and we need to hurry up and do it faster.
Yeah. Well,
I don't see that happening.
So what, another 5 more battle or GBHs? Is that?
Yes.
So it's only what? That's only $250 worth of General's Handbooks. That's no big deal, right?
Please stop talking. That's hurting. That really hurt. I was feeling a lot better until you said that out loud.
How's that C looking? Huh? Is that
oof. Oof. I already gave my grit. I can't say anything.
Yeah. So that's, like I said, that's kind of where I'm, because like the last time I played Soul Blight, I had a lot of fun.
Right.
And in order to, it's a little late to adjust the camera now, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So in order to make it fully playable, I just need to buy 2 more boxes of zombies, and I'm like, I really don't want to put the money into this game right now.
I hear you.
So,
I hear you.
All right. Well, with that, I think we have thoroughly vetted 3rd edition.
I'd say we have.
No one is watching at this point.
Not a soul.
I can say whatever the hell you want.
Dave,
Fine.
What is wrong with you? Please, why have you been listening to this?
Dave, stop. Go grade some papers.
Go hug your family. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So next month, like I said, unless there's some really, really big news that we need to cover, we're probably going to do Middle Earth. We'll still do
hit up the news and all that.
We'll still do news and rumor engines, and then we'll probably do some TTS on Middle Earth, and we'll
discuss some rules and talk it out. And, yeah.
Maybe the fires of Gandor will be lit.
I'll be all right with that.
All right, everybody. So you have a good month, and I will be seeing you
later.